6
then you're
episodes.
Just impatient.
6 impatient. 6 episodes. 6 episodes of walking in the woods.
All right, late night game of this or that here on the Nerdy Nimrods podcast. Mr. Fish, do you know how to play this or that?
I do know how to play this or that.
For the fans at home, or for the few viewers at home listening, this or that's a very subjective game. I ask a few questions. The other person answers subjectively how they feel this or that. And we keep going down a list until we eventually reach the end. We have about 10 characters on this list, so anything could really happen. It's a lot of fun. There may be tears. There may be yelling, mostly on my part, but we'll see what happens here. You ready to start?
Let's go ahead.
All right, starting off, Superman or Thor?
Thor.
This list, this list is all comic book characters, by the way. But Superman or Thor?
I don't love Superman as much as most people. He's had some good stuff, but I'm going Thor.
I don't think you can be like, if you're strictly movie wise, I think you can't really be, I guess, too wrong with that. But if you're going comic book, I think you could also make the argument too. All right, you chose Thor. Thor or Scarlet Witch?
Scarlet Witch. Mainly, especially if we're going comic books, No More Mutants is such a good storyline for her.
House of M is incredible.
Yeah.
So we got rid of Thor, Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch, this is actually a good pit up against each other. Scarlet Witch or Jean Grey?
I'm going Scarlet Witch. I like Jean Grey, but Scarlet Witch.
That's a really hard one because Dark Phoenix is a really good storyline.
It is.
Oh God, this is gonna kill you. Scarlet Witch or Iron Man? You can tackle this how you want. If you're going based off a movie, that's fine. If you're going comic books,
going based off of comic books, I'm giving it to Scarlet Witch. If we're going based off of everything, I'd give it to Iron Man. And since you specified comic book characters, I'm going to go based off of their comic books just to keep it consistent. And I'm going to go Scarlet Witch. I know, again, if we went movies, I'm going Iron Man. But for comic books, I'm going Scarlet Witch.
I think that's probably, objectively, I think that's the correct answer. Great. So Scarlet Witch, or this is just a Green Lantern, because I think Green Lantern has a lot of really good comics.
Green Lantern does have a lot of really good comics, but I'm gonna have to stick with Scarlet Witch here.
Scarlet Witch or Doctor Doom?
Doctor Doom, easily Doctor Doom. There's very few that I think could beat Doctor Doom.
Very few. Here's one I think for me at least would beat it. There's two on this list I think could, but let's stick with this one for now. Doctor Doom or Daredevil?
Doctor Doom.
Wow, that's rough because I would have.
Again, we're talking comic books here.
No, I know. I probably would have gone Daredevil. Granted, I also would have gone Wolverine, just because, like, you know, from when we failed this the first time, Wolverine was a choice initially. I would have picked Wolverine. Another hard one, Doctor Doom or The Flash?
I'm going Doctor Doom again.
You're going Doctor Doom again over The Flash?
I think we just end it with Doctor Doom. I don't think Doctor Doom solos.
I mean, yeah, I was about to say, I'm looking at the rest of this list. I got like Doctor Doom or Catwoman. I think Doctor Doom might be winning that for you.
Nah.
Yeah, Doctor Doom would swipe the rest of this list. I'm not even going to read off the rest of them. There's only two left anyway. It was Mystique and Quicksilver. So I don't, unless you're telling me something different. Yeah, I was about to say.
No.
Yeah, Doctor Doom was a good one. Daredevil and Flash, I feel like are two that was like, those are heavy hitters. You could, I guess, technically.
I wouldn't fault you for putting some of these over, but I mean, over some of the other ones. But like, I wouldn't put anyone over Doctor. Again, I think it'd be like Spider-Man solos. Magneto might. I don't know.
I think you'd have to think.
In terms of enjoyment, I enjoy Doctor Doom more. But yeah.
All right, go ahead. Go with a list for me. I'm excited to see how this goes.
we're going to do a quick game of this or that. I'm going to throw Carson some superpowers and see what he would choose. So, Carson, would you choose super intelligence or super speed?
I think just for everything you can do with speed, it's oh god, but Professor X is really good. No, I'd go speed. I think that's more fun. I think you got to go speed.
Super speed or flight?
Speed.
Speed or super strength?
Speed.
Speed or teleportation? Now, be mindful here. Teleportation, you can get faster than speed.
Yeah,
But
that's on my
super speed, you can type fast depending on the determination of the character. You can think faster. There's a lot of other benefits. Movement, you move faster with teleportation, but with speed, you can think a lot of other things faster.
There's so much you can do with speed that I just feel like you can't do with anything else.
True.
I'm going to stay with speed. I just think there's so much more you can do with that.
Fair enough. Speed or shape-shifting?
Oh, shape-shifting is so fun, though. That's the thing. I would choose shape-shifting just because that's more fun. I would have a fun time with that.
Fair enough. Shape-shifting or invisibility?
You see, but that's hard because if going invisible just makes you invisible, but shape-shifting, you could impersonate, if you're trying to sneak past like a guard booth or something, you could be the guard. What's more fun? I'd still say shape-shifting. Yeah, shape-shifting. I'll stick with it.
And we're going to end it off on a hard one.
Okay.
We're going to go with shape-shifting or time manipulation.
So, oh wow, that would have been exceedingly easy for me if I'd kept super speed, because I could have just said super speed can get time travel. But you're talking like time, like can travel through time,
slow time, stop time,
time. You have the Mind Stone almost, or not the Time Stone.
Time Stone, almost. Essentially the powers of the Time Stone.
I think that's it. I think you have to take time manipulation. I think
you don't have to.
No, I think time manipulation's it. I feel like that's. I think that's it, personally.
Fair enough. Honestly, I would probably do the same. I ended it with what would be the hardest for me. Time manipulation and shapeshifting are like the two biggest number ones for me in terms of like all superpowers if I could choose. So that would be a hard decision for me. But you got another one for me?
Yeah, I do. This one specifically is this or that for Star Wars characters. Starting this off with a bit of a doozy, actually. Boba Fett or Jango Fett? That's kind of hard, especially when you add because I know you're probably adding everything, not just like film and television. You're probably adding everything into it.
I'm gonna go Boba Fett. I know that's probably controversial. I was higher on the TV show than most. Not that it really helps him as a character, because it is Mando as well, but I do really like Boba Fett. So I'd go in Boba Fett.
Sticking with Boba. Okay, Boba or Princess Leia?
Princess Leia.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one. Princess Leia or Rey?
Do I even need to answer that question?
If it's not Princess Leia, I think I'll burn you at the stake at some point.
It's Princess Leia.
Princess Leia or Princess Leia or Yoda?
Yoda. Easily. Yeah, Yoda's one of the best. Yoda's easily one of the best.
Yoda. Oh god. Yoda or Chewbacca?
I'm going Yoda just because I really like a lot of the stuff they do with him in Clone Wars. And I think he's also just like he's such a unique character in a way, mainly because he uses his size to his advantage a lot. He's very nimble. He's amazing in combat, and obviously he's super strong. Chewbacca's fun and funny, and I don't hate Chewbacca. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Chewbacca's a great character, but it's Yoda. It's freaking Yoda.
Yoda or R2D2?
Easily Yoda. I don't hate R2 not beating Yoda.
I think debatable, but I think R2 might be more iconic than Yoda is. It's not by much, but I would say R2 probably is more iconic.
Wasn't it basically confirmed that all of Star Wars is told from the perspective of R2D2?
Well, that's how at least the first movie starts out, is at least sold from that perspective.
So
the sequels technically don't tell from his perspective because he's not even turned on until the very end of The Force Awakens. Yoda or Darth Maul?
Now that's a question, especially after what we have to talk about this week with the ending of Maul Shadow Lord.
Yeah.
Golly. After Maul Shadow Lord, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I'm gonna have to go Maul. Yeah, I love Yoda. Yoda's easily, and if you would have asked me before Maul Shadow Lord, Yoda would have cleared, no question. And I know Maul Shadow Lord doesn't do like the most for Maul's character. I get that. But just seeing him be as badass as he is, he's easily one of my favorite to watch in lightsaber combat, hands down. And so just from that perspective, like, and his voice and his presence, like, I'm going to have to go Maul.
Maul or Han?
Maul.
Yep. I love Han Solo, and he might be my favorite of the original trilogy, but I think that's the correct choice. Maul or Luke Skywalker? Maul. That one's hard.
I think that's an easy one, honestly. Again, I don't hate Luke Skywalker, but like, they're not known for their depth in the Star Wars characters, at least at like, I don't want to call Luke Skywalker surface level. There is a lot of depth and inner conflict that we explore with his character, but it's kind of hard to compare. Like, if we're taking Maul from the movies, obviously Luke Skywalker solos, he has 3 movies where we fully develop him. Maul has Clone Wars, Rebels, his own TV show. Like, he has so much that builds him out in ways that, no offense, Luke Skywalker does not have. And that's kind of the difficult part, is like, I love those 3 original movies, but we've built out so many of these characters in additional formats that, like, Luke Skywalker showed up in Mando.
Yeah.
That's like it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Last 2, these ones are pretty difficult in my opinion. Maul or Kenobi?
Oh, that is hard. I'm gonna stick to my guns here. I know this is gonna be controversial. I'm gonna go Maul.
Okay.
I think that the Kenobi show did a lot of damage to Kenobi's character.
It did a lot of disservice to it. I agree with that. This last one I'm gonna specify because it specifically says Anakin. It does not say Darth Vader, so I'm gonna specifically say Anakin, no Darth Vader versus Darth Maul.
When are we drawing the line?
Like, pretty much
when he puts on the suit, or when he starts turning evil?
Pretty much the second he puts on the suit.
God,
just because I'm specifying it, it makes it interesting.
I might have to say Anakin, because here's the thing. I love Maul, and I think Maul objectively, again, he has more than Anakin does. Granted, actually, that's a lie. Anakin has all of Clone Wars. That's a lie. I think that what they do just with Anakin's character in Clone Wars, as well as the prequels, like, yes, we get stuff with Darth Vader, but all of that is because of Anakin. And I think that, God, they just do such a good job showing the inner turmoil for his character.
Correct.
And again, I think Clone Wars carries his character a lot, just like I think Clone Wars carries Maul a lot. Same with like Rebels and Maul Shadow Lord. So I might have to go Anakin Skywalker.
Good. I think that's probably the best choice. I think Skywalker's just hard to pass on.
Yeah. Okay, I got one more for you. We're gonna do this or that franchises. I'm going to
Okay.
start you off hot and ready. We're going to go DCU, so the current DC universe consisting of Creature Commandos, Superman, and that's it, versus the entire MCU.
MCU, because we haven't seen enough of the DCU yet to even make that a fair comparison. I think it's really good, but it's just hard to compare.
We're going to go
MCU.
The previous DCU versus all of Marvel.
MCU.
We're going to go MCU or Harry Potter.
Okay, I know this is controversial. I've never been that high on Harry Potter before. I acknowledge it's really good, and I'll rewatch them once every like 2 to 3 years. But like, there are people who consider that franchise a religion, and I'm just not one of those people. I'm choosing MCU in a controversial pick, probably.
I don't think that's controversial, honestly. I'd go MCU, and I love Harry Potter. MCU or Jurassic World, or Jurassic Park and World. I'm including all of them.
If it's the entire MCU. Jurassic, that franchise just falls off so hard. It has, in my opinion, only really 2 decent movies, and that's the first one, and then Jurassic World. So
yeah, I'm not gonna give you this as an option, but if it was just the original 3 Jurassic, would that beat the MCU? Because that first movie is so fantastic.
That first movie's darn near perfect. If anything, it is perfect, and I say better than almost all of the MCU as a whole, except with the exception of a handful of movies. But Lost World's not good, and Part 3 is buns. So if you're going franchises, it's gone.
Fair enough. Let's see. Think of another good one. I had one in MCU or Star Wars?
Does that include TV shows, or is it just
all of Star Wars, all of MCU, the highs and the lows?
Damn, that's hard. I think the highest highs of Star Wars are probably, in my mind, I love the MCU. The highest highs of Star Wars are really high, and that original trilogy is so high up there. But I feel like the lowest lows of Star Wars are worse than anything Marvel has done to date. And we're talking about the same company that did Quantumania.
Acolyte's pretty bad. But Echo's also pretty bad. So it's like, I think both of their lows are tied. For me personally, it's really, for me, a question of whose highs are higher. I think personally.
I'm actually going to judge it based off of what you say, because Acolyte is indeed shit. That being said, I'm going to be completely honest here. I think Echo, whereas it is bad and it's not watchable, I'd rather sit through that show 10 times again before I sit through Acolyte. So I'll go MCU.
MCU, okay. MCU or the Scream franchise?
Scream.
Wow.
As a franchise as a whole,
including 7.
Oh fuck.
we're talking Scream, highs and lows, all 7 movies.
Fuck. They're so darn good. That's the thing, is Scream is so darn good. Oh,
Scream
God.
Scream 1's one of the best horror movies ever made. Scream 4 is also fantastic. Like, it's difficult.
Oh, God.
But then you have the portal scene. But you also have Echo. MCU has more lows, but Scream also doesn't have all highs.
Fuck, that's right. Now that MCU, Scream 7 did so much disservice to that franchise. If Scream 7 was at least halfway decent, I would have picked it over MCU. Scream 7 ruined everything that franchise had going for it, which was that at least every single film in some way or another was decent to a certain extent. It's MCU.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's totally fair. We're going to end it off on one last one. MCU or the Bible?
Oh, the freaking Bible. You can't do that. Mary
and Joseph, or I don't know. Mary and Joseph ain't taking on Iron Man and Cap. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, in a square fist fight, yeah, it'd be pretty brutal.
You're saying the
Mostly,
power of God's blessing is not stronger than Cap and Iron Man? Wow.
I never said that. I just said it would be brutal. It's funny is I thought you were going to say Lord of the Rings, and that would have easily been. I think I know why you didn't, because that would have easily been a clean sweep. Even
Yeah,
with The
that
Hobbit,
was
it would have been a clean sweep. Even with Rings
well,
of Power, it would have been a clean sweep.
and that was my thing, because some of those were hard for me, at least, because again, it's like I think some of those have, I mean, personally, nothing tops the portal scene. The portal scene is my favorite scene in all of fiction, easily. But
Sure.
the problem is the
Sure.
MCU also has a lot of lows, and some of these franchises might not have as high of highs. But like, I would say, like Star Wars, I don't think Acolyte. I would rather I would rather rewatch I would personally rather rewatch Acolyte than Echo. Personally speaking. And so it's like, I don't think the lows of Star Wars are as low as the MCU, but their highs for me personally aren't as high. So it's kind of that balance.
It's funny because of all the ones you mentioned, and I even passed over it for the MCU, Harry Potter is the most perfect one of the franchises that you mentioned. Like from start to finish,
I would agree, actually.
I'd say that's the most perfect like franchise that you could do from start to finish. I still passed it over, but my logic was still more. I have more fun in my mind with the MCU, even at its highest highs, and even with some of the low movies. Like again, people don't like Eternals. Okay, I love Eternals. Sue me. I might be one of the only people who likes Eternals.
I personally think the only two truly bad products, and actually, no, I scratched that. I think the MCU has only ever made one truly terrible product. I think Echo is the only, no, I think Echo is the only true actual. Here's my reasoning. So I agree with you. I don't love Black Widow. Echo, I'm sorry, Kingpin. Kingpin is butchered in Echo. It's so bad.
Yeah.
At least Black Widow has Red Guardian, which is consistently just the best part of that movie. And anytime he's on screen, it at least makes it enjoyable. Echo has none of that.
The only thing I even remember from Black Widow that I actually enjoyed was the one scene of Red Guardian Yelena, when Guardian's like cheering up Yelena or whatever, and he's singing American Pie. That's like the only scene I remember from that film, and actually I enjoyed that because that actually was a really nice, sweet moment of the character sharing. That's it. That's the only thing I remember about that film that I actually enjoyed. And actually, we just said about the Harry Potter part being a perfect franchise. I just remembered that the Fantastic Beasts movies happened. So I stand by my MCU statement. Now that I just thought about that.
That is true, actually. That is very true. Because if we're talking franchises, we're including Fantastic Beasts. However, I don't think any of the Fantastic Beasts movies are bad. They're just like
they're just not great.
Correct. I think it's like those original 7 movies. I think it is probably the most consistent out of everything we listed. It does not have near the high of highs, but it never has any of the lowest lows. I think like there are definitely moments, like I would agree. I know this is like, some people hate the 7th movie because of this reason. I personally don't, but I do agree that the way that Voldemort dies in the 7th movie is terrible. And I think it is actively a very big negative on that movie. I don't think I would ever call the movie bad because of it. But there is a very specific reason why in the books it says he drops dead with a thud and not he goes away in dust like sparkles. Because the whole point of Voldemort is he wants to become an immortal god, but in reality, he was just a man the whole time. And when you take that away in his death scene, it detracts a lot from that moment. But I personally don't care as much about that in order to bring the movie and say it's terrible, because everything else in that movie I think is fantastic.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about the Harry Potter franchise. We have plenty of other things to talk about that we're just going to go ahead and get right into. Because what's up, Nimrods? It's your boys back with another episode of the Nerdy Nimrods podcast, the only podcast on the internet where your 2 favorite Nimrods talk all things nerdy. I'm your host for today's episode, Brandon, a.k.a. Parrotfish, here with my forever co-host,
Carson, a.k.a. Juggernaut.
And on today's episode, we will be talking about 3 major projects. We will be talking about Maul Shadowlords, episode 9 and 10, the finale of Maul Shadowlord. We will be talking about The Boys, episode 6, getting very close to that finale, and Mortal Kombat 2. But before we get into that, a few things. One, spoiler warning, there will be timestamps in the description. Skip around. We don't give any non-spoiler thoughts on anything. Obviously, they will be contained to their portion of the video, but if you haven't seen Maul Shadowlord, skip past that in the time description. If you haven't seen Boys, skip past that. Same with Mortal Kombat 2. Just be mindful. This is your one and only warning. Carson, I would ask you how you're doing, but I think we're both doing about the same. It is 11:30 at night on a Thursday.
It's practically midnight. It's long story short, for those off camera, we're having a lot of trouble because streaming just straight up sucks. So we're trying out new software to see if this even works. Fingers crossed that this comes through clearly, and that we're both not, in between a rock and a hard place. But we're trying to figure this out.
Yeah, we want to deliver the highest quality we can. Obviously, we've talked about it before. The goal is to eventually record this in person. We currently live multiple states apart, so that's just literally not possible.
Sure.
And unfortunately, streaming even 1080p video over the internet, you might think it's easy because you hop on a Discord call with your friends, but when you're on a 2-hour video with dual channel audio, it takes a lot more bandwidth than you'd think. And so we literally sat down to start recording this at 9, and we did not hit record until like 11. That's how long we've been fighting with this. And if you've watched any of our previous episodes, you've seen my camera will glitch, Carson's camera will glitch. There will be sections we have to cut out of the podcast. I've seen Carson glitch on my end multiple times. But the purpose of this new streaming software we're using, Riverside, is that those won't show up in the recording. It will just be shown to us. I apologize if that's not the case and you're getting weird video quality glitches. Literally, we are doing everything. Like, we have spent hours on this. We are doing everything we can. It is just the downside.
But bright side is next week's episode will be in person. So
that's true. We will have one episode next week. Next Sunday's episode will be in person because one of the reasons that we're actually recording this on Thursday at midnight and not our normal time is because I'm flying down to Florida for family reasons, and so I will be in town until Sunday when I leave, when these episodes go up. So we're going to try and fit in a recording. The reason we're not, because I fly down on Saturday morning, but then I have to leave immediately for so it's like, we're recording this early. I'm going to be down there for a week. We're going to try to get at least one recording in.
Right.
But that's not what you're here for. We want to just get into this because we're both tired.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, I said that and then it immediately needed to drink some
I was about
water.
to say, go ahead and kick it off for us.
Well, I'm hosting, so you give your thoughts first. We had discussed about how we wanted to do this because typically it would go Maul, The Boys, and then whatever movie we're reviewing or whatever the big thing for that week is. We're going to swap it this week. I can't remember if we swapped it I think we did actually swap it last week as well, where we did The Boys, then Maul. For multiple reasons. One, the Maul is ending. Maul is over. By the time this is going up, it'll be like a week by that it's been over. So we're a little late to the game, but again, that's when we recorded, and that's not going to change until whenever things change. So, and that's also the thing that sucks. Why would you release a TV show on a Monday? Just me. But yeah, Carson, go ahead and kick us off with your thoughts on the Maul season finale.
Yeah. This is about as close to perfect as a finale can be for the show. We just talked about how, the show's ending. Apparently it's not. We're getting a season 2. And it's really funny considering where the show leaves off. It's funny to me that Vader's in this. Like, straight spoilers right away. It's crazy to me that Vader's in this, because we were even talking, a few weeks ago about like the possibility of, this was maybe like even all the way back to like episode 4. Inquisitors will come in, maybe the Grand Inquisitor, who's talking to who, and it turns out that it's like now it is actually Vader. I mean, of all the options, it's not the lowest on the list. The Emperor is probably still the lowest on that list. But the fact that Vader's even in here fighting with Maul, and I mean, dude, that was just sick as fuck. I'm sorry. That has to be, of all the, even in the Clone Wars, of all the saber fights, I think that has to be the coolest shit I've seen. First off, that the whole last 2 episodes is them basically being on the run from the Inquisitors, and then when Vader shows up, it creates another level of tension, because now they're fighting the Inquisitors and Vader. It's just so choreographed so well and so beautiful to look at. I would say that if I have any complaints, I think with this show overall, and I say complaints very minorly, I don't really care about Daki all that much as a character. I think he's okay, but like whenever he actually dies, I don't feel emotion because, oh, this character who I love is dying. I felt the emotion because it's almost like the show's trying to dictate you feeling that. Like, instead of just letting the emotions come naturally, it feels like the show's just kind of like forcing you into it. And so that's kind of where I felt it, but I also didn't really like feel like there was any emotional value to it. So I thought, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. We all knew he was going to have to die. Again, I think that the most shocking thing was Vader coming in. But also the fact that Devon's now Maul's apprentice. They had been building towards it or dropping hints towards it, but even I thought like, oh, Devon's dead by the end of the season. They're not going to deal with that at all. We have no idea where Captain Lawson is. He's just gone. Bye-bye. Into the fog. They want you to think he's dead, but until you see a body, nobody's truly dead. I don't know. I think all in all, it's just written very well. I thought the cinematography is gorgeous in this episode. The animation quality is really good. I think it's about as good a finale for this season that you can really get. I'm beyond excited to see what season 2 comes, which is not something I was really at the beginning of this season. I was not expecting to say, so I'm excited.
Fair enough. Maul Shadow Lord has the best finale out of any, I would say, Star Wars property ever. I'd call it literal perfection. I have zero complaints. And it's funny because I was really worried going into this about how do you wrap everything up. They could not have done it better. I did not want them to have Vader in this because I was like, oh, Vader losing to Maul or Devin or Daki would be stupid. And I was like, that would be ridiculous. I don't want any of that. His introduction in this episode, his second best introduction of all time. He was a monster in the woods, peeking through a tree. Like, it was the coolest and most intense. Vader does not say a single line of dialogue either episode that he's in, and I think that is literally perfection. I don't think they could have done it any better. If I had any slight complaint, I wish Daki didn't even get a single hit in. I wish he walked away completely unscathed. But honestly, I'm not super upset about it because, one, Daki still died and it really didn't do anything. But two, Vader just 3v1'd Maul and 2 Jedi like it was nothing. And mind you, this is so early Vader that no one knows who he is. Maul doesn't know who Vader is. Like, Vader isn't a known figure. No one knows that there's another Sith out there. And that, granted, doesn't come out until much later. And we know that this happens earlier. But, like, this is early Vader, and he is soloing one of the best lightsaber combatists we've ever seen in all of Star Wars, and 2 Jedi. Granted, it's a master and yes, an apprentice, but like, that's insane. And honestly, doesn't even look like he's trying all that hard. It is so cool. Lawson's death, no complaints. Him sacrificing himself for his son, I thought it was going to be 2 boots, honestly, but it being Lawson, I think was great. Him getting that moment with his son to apologize, but not really fully wrapping. Again, I don't need a perfect bow wrapped on every single storyline as long as it feels like they gave it the care it deserved. And that's exactly what I feel like they did with Lawson and his son and with Two Boots. I felt all of that was so well earned. Everything in this show has been so insanely good. They're building up to Darth Talon, or I don't know if it's Darth Talon or Talon. Talon is a Twi'lek who is Maul's apprentice from the expanded universe, never canonized. But I think Devon's going to become or Talon. And if so, and then we get that in season 2, I think it will be. I think season 2 could surpass season 1. Honestly, I really do. I think that this show has just blown my mind in how good Star Wars can be in animation form consistently, without any bad episodes, without any faults. Literally, just consistently one of the best Star Wars things that they've ever made.
I mean, again, the biggest complaints that I have, and it's just a running thing, is like, Daki is such a generic character, and it's hard to care about him. I think you can really make that argument for a lot of the characters in this show, but that doesn't take away from like being blown away by the actual scope, scale, or just story of it. And again, I think until the last episodes 7 and 8, you and I both agreed about this. Maul did feel somewhat sidelined in his own show to a certain extent.
So I do think I'll talk about the Daki thing here in a second. Excuse me. The Maul being sidelined in his own show argument, I think, is the only valid argument against this show, because especially in 7 and 8, that is, I think, when it's felt the most, when he's in there like barely at all. It is kind of like okay, the show's title is Maul. Where the hell is Maul? Oh, there he is. Oh, and he's gone again. Looking back, though, I honestly don't have as much of a problem with it, because I get that it's called Maul Shadow Lord, and it is Maul's show, with them building to Devon being his apprentice, and Devon being the one who gets all of that additional screen time, especially if they turn her into Talon. I actually have no problem with that, especially because here's the thing. Talon or Devon never appears again, never appears with Maul again. I love that, because we're building up to a tragedy. We're seeing the makings of a tragedy. It's very similar to Andor in a way. Star Wars loves building to a tragedy. The entire prequel trilogy is building to a tragedy you already know is coming. That's actually a big formulaic thing with Star Wars that I think that they execute on very well every time. Is we know that they don't get the revenge they want. We know that she doesn't get to take down Vader. We know that Maul doesn't get to take down Palpatine. We know none of that happens, but it doesn't matter. Now, we'll talk about an example later on where maybe I have a problem with the show doing something like that, but I think when it comes to this, like, I don't have that much of a problem. So Devon getting that focus, I, looking back, don't have as much of a problem with it, but I can understand people who do. Now, the other thing that you brought up, which was, what was the other thing that you brought up?
It was the fact that you already touched on Maul being Daki.
No, sorry. Yeah. It was Daki and the generic characters. I actually don't have a problem with that whatsoever, because here's the thing. There are 10,000 Jedi out there, or roughly 10,000 Jedi, that are all indoctrinated very heavily. The Jedi are a cult. Good cult, bad cult, doesn't matter. The Jedi are a cult, and they've all been indoctrinated in this very deeply from birth. Daki being a generic Jedi who's just regurgitate, that's what he's been taught, presumably since he was a child, is the ways of the Force, the ways of the light side, and all of these things. And he's so deeply indoctrinated into all of this that whenever a Jedi shows up and is just a Jedi and is just I'm going to fight for the good side, I don't have a problem with that, because you literally have to look at it not as like, oh, they're a character. No, they're a cult member who's been deeply indoctrinated into this space cult. And so
Sure.
Daki being a one note, I just want to fight for the good side character, that's what the Jedi are for the most part. What we focus on in this story and what gets the zoom ins are the outliers. Your Luke Skywalkers, who pushes against that a little bit. Your Anakin Skywalkers, your Count Dooku's, your Yodas, who are a little bit more eccentric, who do a little bit more than just be generic defenders of the universe. But again, there are like 10,000 Jedi out there. Most of them are going to be the let me open my Jedi Bible and regurgitate you the laws of the Jedi.
So I hear what you're saying, and I'm not. This is such a minor complaint, I guess, but there's an episode of Clone Wars. I don't remember which one it is, but it might genuinely be my favorite episode of Clone Wars that was like prior to like the final few episodes of like season 8. That it's 8 seasons of Clone Wars, right?
Yeah,
8, 7, somewhere around there.
7. It's 7 because the final season.
Prior to the last few episodes of Clone Wars, my favorite one was the clone troopers with Fives, Echo. I'm trying to remember all their names, but there's like 6 of them or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. We got a few like other episodes like of them training prior to this one, but it's like it's like a big episode where Heavy, I think his name is Heavy. I don't remember what his name is, but he sacrificed himself. Whatever. That episode on its own, they're generic stormtroopers, but they give them so much. And again, in a show about Maul, you can only do so much. I get that, but when I look at an episode like Clone Wars, which is very similar to Maul in a lot of ways, I can't help but feel that you couldn't have given him one other thing, like just a trait or something beyond generic Jedi guy. Because truthfully, when it comes to this character, yeah, I'm glad he's exactly who he is. You're listing off the good points, but now there's a good chance I would just completely forget his name if they never said it again.
Again,
like that's just how I feel.
I understand that, and I'm not going to fight against it. If that's a problem for you, that's a fair problem. It is a problem that I don't have, and I have my reasons that I don't have it. But if someone were to have it and they don't accept the reasons that I have, I'm not going to like kill you over it. My only other counter for it is like you're supposed to care about, and some people have a problem with this way of storytelling. I personally don't always. I do think there are bad ways of doing it. I don't think this is one of them. You're supposed to care about Daki because Devin cares about Daki. We don't get to see them coming up together. We don't get to see the Jedi Padawan relationship because that's not the focus of the show. The focus of the show is Devin's pull to the dark side and Daki acting as that pull back to the light side, but she still cares about Daki. So when Daki dies, you might not know what tea Daki likes to drink. Like, yeah, that's not something you're going to get, but you do know that Devin loves Daki, and we love Devin because we have gotten a focus on Devin. We have gotten to know Devin as a character. And so if Devin's hurt by it, we are hurt by it. Because our pseudo secondary main character is hurt by it. Again, if you have a problem with that, I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair. That's just another one of my reasons that I don't personally have as big of a problem with it.
I think that point just kind of furthers my point, though. You care about the character because this character loves that character. You're caring about this character because the plot's dictating that you care about it. There's nothing wrong with that form of storytelling. There's a lot of storytelling that you kind of just have to go with that for the sake of the plot. But when a character like Daki is so interweaved, especially in this first season, even giving something as simple as showing a glance or one frame of actually, like, he says he cares about Devin being pulled to the dark side, actually make me feel like he feels the contention and showing him trying to, like, I just don't feel like there's any point in the show really beyond him saying, no, don't turn to the dark side. No, this. I've never actually felt like oh my gosh, she's going to the dark side. I can feel it. I need to pull her back. That's also how you make us feel for the characters because it can go both ways. You care about Devin, so you care about Daki. You care about Daki because he cares about Devin. Other than just saying he cares about Devin, you never really see it or feel it. So I guess that's again, it's such a minor complaint because in the grand scheme of stories, I guess technically you're right, but I know what you can do because I've seen it within other projects. If Phantom Menace, if Qui-Gon didn't care about you care about Qui-Gon's death because you feel the connection between master and apprentice. Obi-Wan cares about Qui-Gon. Would it be Qui-Gon cares about Obi-Wan? That's what makes that duo so important and so cool. But it would not be nearly as strong as if you never really saw the love that Qui-Gon had for Obi-Wan at all.
I mean, honestly, I think that's the best example to further my point. You care about Qui-Gon because Obi-Wan cares about Qui-Gon. And, like, in the grand scheme of things, realistically, we get 10 episodes with Daki and Devin. Now, granted, they don't have the main portion of the screen time, but
Right.
if you look at the screen time breakdown between Qui-Gon's screen time and Daki's screen time, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they were relatively the same. And again, you can say that you care about one over the other, but I think that my points, again, I'm not going to force you to agree with me on this one. I don't care that much about, like, converting your opinion, but I do truly think that, like, I personally really like Daki because he is just a Jedi. He is just, there's nothing special about him. I like him because he's not special, because he is that pull to the light side, that counter to Darth Maul that you care about because someone you care about cares about him. Because we've seen that before, and it's also worked very well. Again, your Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan example.
Again, I'm also mostly just trying to pad the runtime by thinking about, like,
well, you want to talk about something
and things. There's also very little negatives with this show, so when there is one thing I at least want to try to talk about as in depth as possible, that's really my only negative. Let's talk about positives. Dude, how about the entire freaking episode with just, oh my god, how about the forest fight?
Let me just set the stage. I'm just gonna say something.
Go ahead and cook.
That fight scene in episode 10 might, and I could easily be convinced, is the best fight scene Star Wars has ever done. And granted, I am talking about basically the entire episode, including the Vader and the Inquisitors. But, like, when you have Maul, a Sith, with 2 Jedi teamed up, going against 2 Inquisitors, and then adding Darth flipping Vader into the equation, being aura farming Darth Vader, I don't think you can get much better than that. And it's not just the meaning of it and the power of it. It's the animation, it's the action, it's the choreography. Everything is just, like, literally perfect.
When you say fights, because I agree with you, it's up there. Do you mean out of animation or live action?
I mean all of it. I mean literally, period.
I'd say at least in animation, it's the best one. The only reason I don't say live action is because I'm sorry, practical over animation in my mind is a lot more skill. I'm not saying that animating doesn't take skill, but I think actually seeing it done live is a lot more skill. It takes a lot more just purely as thing goes. Funny enough, it's Darth Maul still, because Duel of the Fates is still probably, in my opinion, the best one. Runner up being probably, I know I'm higher on it than most people, but probably followed behind Obi-Wan versus Anakin. I think
I would put Anakin versus Obi-Wan over Duel of the Fates, because here's the thing. Duel of the Fates is great. And I actually agree with you in terms of, if we're looking at this purely from a skill, yeah, the live action's going to solo anything because these are actual people. My problem with Duel of the Fates is you have to rewatch that scene. There's a lot of standing still between doors in Duel of the Fates. When they're actually fighting, it's really freaking good. But this is a full 20 minutes almost of non-stop lightsaber combat, not just standing there between doors and barriers staring at each other like Duel of Fates.
Again, it depends, because this is kind of how I'm looking at it. If it's just pure skill and technique and everything, Duel of Fates in my mind still has the win. If it's emotion and storyline and all of it mixed together, it's 100% Revenge of the Sith. And I do think Revenge of the Sith as a whole, that fight scene is my favorite of anything Star Wars has ever done, period. I don't think anything comes close to topping it. Again, I like Duel of the Fates, but there's not a lot of until Qui-Gon's death, there's not really any emotion or anything attaching to it beyond, oh, it's a really cool lightsaber fight. And the same thing does kind of go for the forest fight. Maul's not going to die because obviously he goes on after it, but the stakes are just more so, oh, this is really cool to look at, and it's very visually appealing.
Yeah, I think it really depends on what you're looking for out of a fight, but for me personally, the choreography, I mean, Darth Vader is so fucking menacing, dude. He is not phased at all. Like, he's toying with them. He cuts Maul so many times. He's like, the only reason he wasn't immediately mopping the floor with them is because there were 3 of them and he was only half taking it seriously. And this is early Darth Vader.
Yeah, I mean, he's been more menacing before in the past. Menacing isn't the word I'd use here, although you could use it. I would say he's more, I don't know how different this really is, he's more opposing.
Imposing?
Yeah, I'm sorry, he's more imposing rather than, I guess, menacing. He is menacing. Like, when he comes out of the fog, yeah, that's a cool shit thing to have happen.
I mean, controversial opinion, I think that's his second best entrance of all time, coming out of the forest like that. Obviously, number one.
Think about all of his entrances.
Number one is Rogue One. Before. Yeah, number one is Rogue One.
Well, if you're talking just about like before a fight, it's Rogue One. If you're talking about like entrances for a movie or like a show or something, yeah, it's that. It's Rogue One. Like, he's only really has 2, I would say, like, really big. You know what the best word is? Aura. It's aura building moments for Vader, because other times he just comes on screen. Like, when you look at the original trilogy, A New Hope, he just comes on in. He's the big bad. You see him. You got the music playing, but there's not really like any aura behind him. It's just, oh, this guy's evil. He's just walking in. Empire does the same thing. Return of the Jedi, I mean, technically does the same thing. I would say, actually, of the original trilogy, funny enough, Return of the Jedi, he probably has the most aura farming entrance of the 3, because he comes in on his big ship, the gang comes down, fog around him, whatever. But no, as far as like cinematic spectacle goes, it's Rogue One, and it's Maul.
Yeah, no, I think that's easy.
You spoke on this, and this is more so of a question. We don't have to harp on this for too long. Yes, it was smart to not have Vader talk in the fight scene. That being said, the only reason they didn't have him talk in the fight scene, I think, was because James Earl Jones. I don't think Disney's smart enough to not make that choice. I think any chance they get to have Vader talk, they would. I think because James Earl Jones has moved on, they just chose not to AI that voice or have somebody else do that voice.
Did James Earl Jones do it in... Has James Earl Jones... Because, like... Here's something that our TikTok comment section loved to point out when they were making fun of you about our other clip, is that like Palpatine, for instance, is voiced by Sam Witwer himself, Maul, in this show, and well, I think he has like one line in this show, but like in all animation, is it James Earl Jones in Clone Wars?
Does he say anything in Clone? I don't think he says anything in Clone Wars ever. I think he comes on at the very last scene and he stands there and stares at the snow, but I don't think he ever says anything. I think the only time he actually says stuff is in Rebels, and I don't even remember much of that, so I couldn't even tell you if that was him or not. But even still, I am pretty sure everything that's been film or television-wise, James has voiced everything up until at least this point.
Okay, so in terms of... So the only times, according to this that I'm seeing here, the only times he hasn't done it would be something like the Lego projects.
Okay,
but in terms of main, like, he has appeared in Rebels, he has appeared in Clone Wars. That has been James Earl Jones.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I don't think they'd ever replicate that voice or disrespect that voice by having anybody else do it. I think that's too hard to do. And I think with a fandom as big as Star Wars, I think that's just like, that's what I'm saying is I don't think Disney's smart enough to make the decision of, oh, he just shouldn't talk. He should come in, be this force that they're trying to stop and not say a single thing. I don't think they're smart enough to think of that. I think they just had to because they didn't want to disrespect.
I disagree with you. I think, because here's the thing again, this isn't Disney. This is this is like Sam Witwer absolutely had a huge hand in making this, just as much as Dave Filoni had a big hand in making this and writing this. Those are two of the biggest Star Wars fans in history. When they make a Star Wars project, I show up. And I think that they would be smart enough to make a decision like that where Darth Vader. I'm not saying James Earl Jones's passing doesn't play a factor at all, but at the same time, like I'm glad for whatever the reason, I'm glad Vader didn't speak, because I think that added so much to that moment. Like he doesn't even he has no reason to speak to these people. He's just there to kill them. Right. And he does. No, he kills one of them.
Kills one of them for sure. Yeah, I mean, again, the fight sequences are really good. Vader is just, like you said, an imposing threat. He's really good in this. The Inquisitors are also just used very well here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk to the internet for a second. Hey, I know I'm stupid. I'm going to take this time to publicly apologize to people for my theory and how wrong I am, because apparently the theory about the 11th brother being Savage was debunked
immediately and easily.
I give up to the internet gods. I apologize for even opening my mouth.
They should put a tax on podcast equipment. You know, not everyone should have an opinion on the internet, Carson.
Not everybody should have an opinion. This is bogus. He said the 11th brother is SpongeBob SquarePants, and that was already debunked by this and the. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I just think that's really funny that.
I loved some of the counters in there where what's his name? The Clancy Brown also voices Mr. Krabs, and someone was literally like, so what, the Inquisitor's actually Mr. Krabs? That was actually one of the first comments on that post before it really started blowing up. And because I mean, that's one of our best it is our best performing clip on Instagram, at least by a country mile. And I love reading those comments. Some of them are hilarious. Some of them are just mean. But I think it's fair. We'll take it on the chin. It's fair. Granted, I did not know that Carson was going to bring this up, so I shift all Carson's the stupid one. I'm not. I should have.
Look, man, I don't know lore. I just and you can even clip this part of whatever I'm saying.
I won't.
I don't know. Okay, well, I don't.
I'm actually going to clip it so that you say I do know Star Wars lore, and the audience is stupid. I'm gonna make that a clip.
Yeah, but I don't know Star Wars lore all that well. Yeah, I know. I watch Star Wars. I'm engaged in Star Wars. I do the best I can.
You're a casual Star Wars fan.
I'm a casual Star Wars fan. The only thing I would say that I'm hella into as far as in-depth lore is probably something like Lord of the Rings, Marvel for sure. Not even so much DC, but definitely Marvel, Lord of the Rings. I would say WWE is probably one, but that lore is stupid easy to follow once you get it. There's very few things that I'm actually 100%. Oh, Doctor Who. I'm into the Doctor Who lore. I know that pretty well. It's just various things, but I've never been super. I never read the books. I never read the comics. You talked about last week about how Count Dooku might be one of your favorite characters just based off of this book series that he was a part of. I've never read those. So I'm going fully operating on Clone Wars and movies and this and that. So when it comes to moments like this, it's just oh, okay. Well, I'm guessing this because of this. I don't know.
It's funny because I want to remind people the title of this podcast. And granted, the people on the internet don't care and don't know the podcast. They just know the clip. But it is funny because there's a reason this podcast is titled Nerdy Nimrods. One, it's a funny title. But also, we are not on the internet to claim to be experts. We are fans. No. We are idiots. We are Nimrods. I would count myself as an expert in a few fan bases. I would say One Piece, for instance. I'm pretty expert on One Piece. And I know my stuff for MCU, and I do my research on things, but I'm an idiot. There's so much that I don't know. I have read a few comics of Star Wars. I've read a few of the books. We are here to be fans of things. Even if this podcast ever becomes our full-time jobs, I don't want to become the internet expert, because then the second you mess up, you have even higher expectations. My goal in life is to be a full-time fan. Not a full-time expert, a full-time fan. And that fan is going to be an idiot.
We need to start adding disclaimers at the beginning of the podcast. Hey, attention, we are the nerdy Nimrods. We are idiots who are fans who like talking about things. Do not take 100% of anything that we say to heart, because most of the time we may not be right. This is just us talking.
Yeah, look, I appreciate everyone who wants to engage with us, like literally from the bottom of my heart. It's like anyone who wants to take the time to watch or even make fun of us.
It's funny. I was about to say, it's funny.
Yeah, no, like please keep doing it. Please keep making fun of us. Like it's hilarious, but it is what it is. Yeah, no, I think overall though, this episode of like this whole series of Maul, like I can't put it above Andor, mainly because Andor has 2 seasons, and I think the Gorman Massacre is just one of the most perfect episodes of TV ever put to screen, and Maul has nothing that can even touch the Gorman Massacre. But I do think that like if Maul Shadow Lord comes out and just is better than season 1, I'm not saying it's touching Andor, but those first 3 episodes of the second season of Andor are not great. So
they're not
I'll give it to Maul for they're not bad. And that's my thing. Again, it's a lot of preference, but for me, like I'd say this is better than Clone Wars. Clone Wars has higher highs. Maul has no lows. Maul has literally 0 lows for me.
I almost said maybe not season 8, but I forget about those first. It's actually, I like the Bad Batch episodes of season 8. I really don't like those mid like Ahsoka episodes. Which she's like before she like joins back up with Anakin and Obi-Wan. I never really liked those episodes all that much. I thought they were okay.
I would put the final season of Clone Wars above any TV show. I'd even put it above Andor. But that's one season. If we're talking shows as a whole, and I get it, it's unfair to compare something that's 7 seasons, I believe it is 7 seasons long of a TV show that he's obviously going to have more time to have lows up against a 2-season TV show that's live action completely. I get it. That is an unfair comparison. However, I do think that like here's the thing. I've said it before on this podcast. Comparison is the thief of joy. All of these are good. We're talking about amazing products here. The reason I am comparing in this instance and saying, oh, I prefer this over this is for one purpose, at least for me personally. It is to tell you how freaking good this show is. I'm not saying that Andor is bad because of this or this is bad. I'm using these as examples to explain to you in terms that if you haven't seen this show and you're wondering if you should watch it or not, comparing it to other shows to tell you if you thought Andor was amazing. I'm not saying it's better than it, but I'm saying that it has some really it's getting close. Like it's topping Clone Wars if you're taking the whole series into account. It's clearing Bad Batch. It's clearing Rebels. Like,
right. But I guess similar to what you said. Wrapping it up, it's about as perfect as a finale for this show can be. Not saying that in a negative way. I just think that it's from start to finish a very entertaining show. Like you really can't go wrong with it. If you're a Maul fan, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to look forward to season 2. If you're just like a Star Wars animated fan, this is where you want to be. It's not Tales from the Underworld, it's not Tales of the Jedi. This is a completely separate thing from those shows in my mind. It's really good, fun time.
Watch Maul Shadow. I mean, if you've watched up to this point, you already know all the big spoilers, but like watch Maul Shadow Lord if you haven't already. Another thing that maybe you should watch, maybe you shouldn't. Carson, we're going to go ahead and transition into our other TV show that's coming to an end. Not yet. We have 2 more episodes left after this. But we have 1 more before those 2. Blah, blah, blah. Carson, go ahead and give us your thoughts on The Boys Season 5, Episode 6.
Yeah, this is kind of where the whole season as a whole is just kind of building towards, is finally finding Bomb Sight. Getting the V1 so that they can actually do what they need to do to take down Homelander. This is a very big story episode, one that probably, if you really wanted to, you could have done it already. But I know that they're trying to tell the story the way they want to tell it. And I think at the beginning of the show, when I was thinking of how the story would be structured, this is the type of episode that I would have thought, if they were telling the story, would have been like episode 4. Like they would have already had this. But now seeing, especially with the end of the episode being what it is, seeing where they're actually taking this story, I think this is actually perfectly placed in the timeline for where it needs to be. And I'll get to that in a bit. Bomb site, first off, I think this has one of my, it's so strange. I don't know how I'm supposed to phrase this. This has such a great scene and makes you feel something for 2 characters that is going to be even bigger on impact once Vought Rising comes out in 2027. Does that make sense? The whole bomb site Soldier Boy scene is actually really good. And I love the dialogue that they share and the dialogue that they both have, that it's a scene that's actually going to hit harder once Vought Rising comes out and you get to see that camaraderie, the friendship build, or the companionship build between Soldier Boy and Bomb Site whenever they're, going through their origin stories or whatever. And watching the first generation of the 7 be born. I mean, it's really good. I think the old people is wild and kooky, and it's very much the boys. Of course, the guy has a nutsack that's used as nunchucks. Why wouldn't he? It's the boys. If a guy can have a massive schlong that goes around and can be used as a whip, of course a guy can use his nutsack to whip people. Why wouldn't they? They, again, for a character that isn't really going to be fleshed out until Vought Rising, they flesh out Bomb Site a lot in this episode, especially with Goldie being a character, clearly showing the relationship that they do have. It's just interesting. I think everybody plays their part pretty well. This pushes the story along very nicely with an ending that made me text Brandon. I don't typically do this at the end of episodes because it's what gives away my thoughts. I texted Brandon at the end of this episode going, "What the fuck?" Because truthfully at this point, and I told my friend this earlier today, I have no idea how they're going to end this show or where they're going at this point with this. Because now that, first off, I never expected Homelander to get the V1. I expected him to get close to having it. I never expected him to have it. So I have no idea where this story is going to go. I don't know what they could possibly do, but I'm on board because now we're just full steam ahead. Like, okay, this is clear on a path of just absolute chaos and destruction until the very end. It makes sense for what they've been setting up, especially when they've been teasing. Yeah, these last 2 episodes are, mind-boggling, just craziness.
Fair enough. Hi, Carson. You want to know my thoughts on the episode?
You fucking hate it. You're just a hater of the boys. And look, I get it. Sorry to cut you off, but we're here doing the same thing every week with you. Nothing the boys is ever going to do is changing your mind. You don't like it. It's okay to you. You understand why people like it. Just get on with it.
I'd like to ask
say what you're going to say.
I'd like to ask for your silence for my thoughts uninterrupted.
I despise you. Continue.
Give me the platform to say what I want to say because I gave you your platform. That's why we do this. I want to give you the platform. I don't want to argue off the bat. I want to let you get your thoughts out uninterrupted, and I want to get my thoughts out uninterrupted, and then we can argue our asses off about it. Okay? Fair. Fair is fair. He hates me already.
I hate you already.
The Boys Season 5, Episode 6, or should I say, Vought Rising Episode 0, is a fine episode. It is literally so fine. I don't hate it. I don't hate the episode. There's just so much in it that is just so story inconsistent. Even the things that are story consistent, I don't care about. I don't care about them setting up characters that are going to show up in a prequel that I don't want them to make, because The Boys started as a contest against the superhero genre and all their spin-offs and all their bullshit, and now they're just becoming it. Now their entire final season is ruined by a show that doesn't even exist yet, because they wrote all of their characters and all of their setup for an ending that now is being thrown out, it feels like, to set up a story that we don't care about. If Vought Rising already came out, I would have cared a lot more. This does not make me want to watch rising at all. In fact, it makes me not want to watch it because I don't think anything they're doing is interesting. I think that I actually like that Black Noir is killed by Deep. I don't love the way that he's killed by Deep because why didn't he fly away? Why wasn't there a fight? He's literally freaking machine gun proof and he gets killed by a knife. Okay. I don't love that. I I have no problem with Sage not predicting Soldier Boy because no character can be smart enough to guess how stupid the writing of Soldier Boy as a character can be. So I don't fault Sage because I don't think any smart person would guess that Soldier Boy was going to give up the V1 for his one true love, even though Crimson Countess was said to be his one true love during the season 3 that he was introduced in. Like, I think the writers forgot that they said that. So why can we expect Sister Sage to remember that? I just think that there are some good scenes. I'll give them this. The legend scene with Homelander, anything with Homelander, specifically that legend scene with Homelander though, is actually one of like the best scenes in all of the Boys ever. Like I loved that scene because it does so much for Homelander's character in the sense of all he's ever wanted is people to not fear him and treat him like a normal human being, but everyone fears him. Now, granted, it's his own fault. He just doesn't, he just will never admit that. But like a Legend being so accepting of the fact that he's just gonna die and actually like telling Homelander what's what, no ulterior motive, nothing. He thinks he's gonna die. He's just gonna say what he wants. I thought that stuff was incredible. My problem is I wish they would have done it sooner because I don't think that scene's gonna matter. I don't think they're gonna take down Homelander with the power of not thinking he's scary. There's two ways that you can take down Homelander now that he has the V1. One, it's Marie Moreau, who, if they don't bring into this, I'm going to crash out harder on this podcast than I've ever crashed out before because we've already seen that Marie Moreau can kill characters with a V1 in their system. Or if Soldier Boy gets his head out of his ass, because we literally saw in this episode that Soldier Boy can burn V1 out of people's systems. Those are the only two ways that you can canonically kill Homelander. If they come up with a third one, I'm probably going to hate it because you haven't set it up yet. Overall, I don't like this season so far. I don't like this episode. I think there's a lot of good in it. I just think they've lost the plot so they can sell a spinoff that I don't care about. Carson, rip me to shreds. Say whatever you want. I've got my thoughts out.
No, we've done this for weeks. I'm not going to rip you to shreds anymore. Nothing this show, even prior to the show being
nothing this show does will ever make you sad. Like you're just meat riding the hell out of this show as if everything it does is perfect. Just like how I hate it, you love it.
I've never said the show is perfect. It's got flaws. But it's not like the flaws that you're overly negative, and I will admit I'm probably overly positive at times, but I don't mean to be. Like I think the show is impeccably written, just insanely well. I think the story is really good. I think where this show fails, and it's funny because it's literally what highlights the show and sets it apart from other shows, is the over gratuitous violence and over like sexualized jokes and natures and things.
Well, and
things
it's
that you can get around. You don't need to have or tell this story all that well.
I didn't bring this up in my thing because I thought it was a probably the dumbest point that I have. You can argue against me on this, but like the Boys at this point is so not funny to me most of the time because it feels like they can't even come up with new jokes. Oh, everyone's favorite character from one of the seasons was a character with a big dick. Oh, we need to create a character with a new superpower. Nunchuck nuts. Come up with a new fucking joke. Why does genitals have to be another fucking superpower? Again, it's so overly unnecessarily gratuitous that like I get it. It's not a main focus. That's why I didn't bring it up in my thoughts because I do think that is a stupid complaint when this has been a consistent thing throughout the Boys, but it is still like stupid.
Again, it's for the shock value and the surprise factor of it, which are always things that I'm not, the highest on. But again, I think the story is impeccable. And truth be told, and you can hate me on this, I know the internet won't. If anything, the internet will agree with me. But
no, the internet's hating on this, by the way. You're on the wrong side of the internet. The internet is hating on this. The internet hates this episode.
No, okay. You need to let me finish my thoughts. So I can say it. I'm saying the internet's going to not hate on this part. Because what I'm about to say is, and we were higher in the Stranger Things finale. in my opinion, I think this season probably is objectively better than the entirety of season 5 of Stranger Things.
Wrong.
I like the season 5 of Stranger Things. I don't think it's objectively bad, but I think at least it's more consistent with what they've set up.
I would watch the Stranger Things finale a million times before I rewatched what we've been
Yes,
given
but
so
you don't
far.
like this show. You don't like this show.
I like season 1 through 3. I enjoy season 1 through 3. Is it my favorite thing ever? No. It doesn't touch Stranger Things. I would still watch the Stranger Things finale a million times over this. Let's talk about another thing. The power scaling in this episode was trash. And if you disagree with me, you're wrong. Why the hell did O-Father beat Starlight? Why? We've built up Starlight to go up toe-to-toe with Homelander at times. And O-Father curb stomps her? Why? Why?
That wasn't necessarily like a full-on brawl. Starlight never got a chance to get her powers out.
Why not?
If it was a full-on fight event, why? Because he physically was overpowering her with whatever sound wave that came out of his mouth.
She's powered up immediately before. Why did it take her so long this time?
I think it was immediate. I think his thing also stops her from using it no matter when she's using it.
It definitely wasn't immediate if your argument is that he overpowered her faster. The speed of light is faster than the speed of sound.
I can't even think right now. It's so late. No. He first off, we've never seen his powers work before. So saying power scaling is messed up for him, we don't know what he can do.
We know he can shout loud.
That's great. We don't know if he's able to overpower Starlight or not. This is the first time we're seeing if he even can. So saying power struggling for him kind of is a moot point considering we've never seen this ability before. If it changes later on and she's able to easily overpower him, well, that's a different story.
The problem is you have a character whose superpowers is sound and a character whose superpowers are light. And the reason you're bringing up that the character with sound powers beats the character with light powers is the character with sound powers is faster than the character with light powers. When the speed of light is incomprehensibly faster than the speed of sound, that is a bad power scaling. That is bad power scaling.
I think you're thinking into that way too much.
No, I'm not.
I genuinely think you're thinking way.
The entire internet is saying that right now because it is objectively true.
Unfortunately, I'm not listening to the internet because I want my thoughts to be as original, and I won't even look at the internet until
this was my thought before I even knew what the internet was saying. I'm just bringing it up because I'm bringing up that the internet agrees because it's objectively true. Because your whole argument for my hatred against the boys is that everyone's loving it right now. I can tell you, when you go on the internet and look up people's thoughts about this episode, again, my thoughts are still wholly my own. They might align with the internet's, but that's because that's just the way the episode is. I think
again, but it's one episode. It's one episode in an entire season. If people are hating on the entire season, fine, whatever. But also people have always people have hated on the show before, but that's just because of the type of show that it is. There are people who don't like the show because of the type of show that it is.
And it's
what I'm suggesting here is, and again, you can disagree with me all you want about power disabilities and whatever, or leveling or whatnot. Again, we have not seen this character, so I'm willing to hear it out. If it backs up later on and does the same thing, great. I believe it because that's exactly what you set up. If later on she walks into a room and within 2 seconds defeats him, then I'll have a problem with it. I'm not saying your logic isn't flawed. You're mathematically, scientifically correct with all of your thoughts, but these are human beings. They make mistakes. They're flawed, whatever, this, that. Their powers. We have not seen any of this fight before, so I'm willing to let the show kind of tell me the story and hear it out before I'm upset about the power scaling, if that makes sense. My logic can't really be wrong with that. You got to at least let it play out before you can just jump to the conclusion of the power scaling. Now, if it's something like Soldier Boy versus Homelander, okay, yes, that should be. I'll tell you one power scaling thing that I will agree with you on. Not Soldier Boy. Deep versus and it's not even really a fight. It's
Deep versus Noir was
Black
terrible.
Noir.
And if you disagree with me on that, you're wrong. Like, that was terrible.
It's not that the fight's terrible. It's the fact of how he kills him.
Yeah.
Like, if it was just as simple as choking him out, I could believe that because Deep is strong and could easily do it. There would be more of a struggle from Noir's part, but it's the fact that he ends up cutting him.
Well, it's not he cuts him; he stabs him through the like.
Well, and again, there may be some logic that you could throw in there, like, oh, Noir's weapons actually they're easy enough to cut Homelander or something. Maybe you could make some sort of logic that there's some sort of thing, but they never say that.
I was going to say, if we've had a metal that can specifically cut soups this entire time and we're only now finding out about it, I'd be even more pissed off than what we are right now.
I'm not saying that the new Soldier Boy was better or stronger than Homelander. He probably was able to be cut by things. I don't fully know. I can't explain that, but I do agree with you. It was just a little odd.
I didn't fully care all that much as well.
I don't think it was rushed. I think that was actually they've been building that slowly even since season 4. I think it felt sudden. I don't think it was rushed. I think it just felt sudden.
That's actually fair. I'll give you that. I would say the reason why I said it felt rushed is because I think that Deep killing Noir makes perfect sense. I think that dynamic leading to that makes total sense. I think the reason why I say it's rushed is because you go from like flooding oil pipeline to like immediately we're killing Noir. And it's not just like we're going to struggle, we're going to fight. Again, the Boys directors have talked about this. We're like, oh, why are people complaining that like every fight isn't the biggest thing ever? First of all, you literally promised us Scorched Earth for 4 seasons, and now this is the opposite of a Scorched Earth finale at all. Maybe these last 2 episodes will be. If they're not, I'm going to complain even more.
We haven't earned that yet because we haven't gotten there yet. That is a little odd. Not from the people, from you for just saying that, because we haven't gotten there yet. It could very well be Scorched Earth. And Scorched Earth also could mean leveling the small town that Bot is set in. Maybe not even that. Like,
speaking of Scorched Earth, I would say my least favorite scene in the entire thing, just because of you, because I was so angry when I watched it because of you, was the whole plan on how we were going to kill Homelander this episode, of setting up a mister in his face. Your whole argument about why we didn't kill him with the radiation, or one of your arguments, is Butcher would not snoop that low because we were going Scorched Earth and we were going to go balls to the walls. It would be them to the end. And then in this episode, his entire plan is to put up a smellifier with the virus while Homelander's at church. That was the entire plan of how we were going to kill Homelander. That's not a battle. That's not Scorched Earth. That's not nothing. That's pussy shit. Butcher was going to chicken out of that.
Well, he wasn't going to chicken out. Butcher was going to die with Homelander. Either way,
well, yes, he was going to spread the virus and die that way, but...
So when the virus is going, there would have been a strong chance the Butcher would have also tried to do more to Homelander as he's dying.
No, that's literally not at all. They literally said they would wait for it. They would spray him and he would die in front of everyone, no fight. Like, that was everything that that was the whole point.
Oh, I mean, I guess.
Again, I'm not saying it was terrible. I think that plan is actually genius. I was just angry because it proved my point right on every opportunity they faked. Every single episode. This is another problem that I have with this season. Every single episode, they set up, we're going to kill Homelander. This is the way we're going to kill Homelander. For some bullshit reason, it doesn't work. Okay, I will say, Allfather being in the church and stopping them, not a bullshit reason, actually. I think that, actually makes sense. I think that's the most fair. Sense. But last season where it's burp guy can burp in Homelander's face and knock him out. Ooh, stupid.
No, but that was last episode, not last season. But
that's what I said last episode.
The reason they didn't stop him then was because Soldier Boy put a stop to him. That was solely the reason.
Again, I think Soldier Boy's writing is horrible this season. So
I don't agree with that. I think that his writing is really good. I think he's a complex character. I think that
too complex. I think he's too complex.
there is such thing as overly writing a character. I don't think that's this case, but there is such thing as complexing the character for no reason.
Well, and it's
the reason they didn't kill him in episode 4, and I already said this, logic of scorched earth or not anyway. Yeah, Homelander was in that cage and he was trapped and he was sick and he couldn't get out of it. But the second they open it up, they would have also been infected too, or he could have gotten out and he could have been fine. That one I still stand by with, because that's a really easy, like, okay, yeah.
I still think it's stupid because, again, you make the, like, we saw that Homelander was still weakened after he got out of it. It wasn't like an immediate he's hunky-dory again. Like, he was still clearly showing signs of being a little weaker when he was talking to Soldier Boy afterwards. So, like, you could have done something about it. I'm not saying we could have killed him, but the fact that he didn't even try, I think, is a little stupid.
Well, I don't think they wanted to try because they wanted the virus. Again, based on the logic now, is they wanted the virus to kill him because they know that would 100% do it.
Well, they were going to try to kill him before the virus. That whole spray was supposed to go off with the original version of the virus without V1.
Yes, but they didn't know that they wouldn't actually, like, fully kill him. That's the thing, is they didn't know until
they did.
They tested out and found out that. What did they know?
Their plan.
So what are you talking about?
Their plan was to spray,
at the start of season 5 was.
Well, I'm talking about in this episode. Their plan was to spray him with the virus, knowing he would die. And the only reason they were still going after the V1 on top of that was to save Kimiko and Annie, who apparently want to die now, which also I think is actually fair. I think that actually makes sense. I think them kind of having that conversation and saying, like, hey, we should, I think that's totally fair. Now, I do think they are going to die.
Correct. But we'll talk about that in a second, because that's like the last conversation ending point here.
But no, I think Soldier Boy's character is horribly written. I think a lot of it is because they are shoehorning in backstory to build up Vault Rising.
Okay, we'll get to that. But backing up what you were saying, because I didn't fully get the talk about this one portion quickly. When did they say in this episode that they were 100% going to spray him with it so that it would kill him? Did they say they would spray it to weaken him so they could try to kill him?
No, they said that they would spray him at the start of church, that he would die in the church. That was, like, I think it was Butcher who said it when they're setting up the trap, is that they were going to...
Did they ever clarify that they needed the V1 to make... Hold on. Did they ever clarify that they need to need the V1 to make the virus, or that they could make the virus, they just need the V1 to protect themselves?
So there were two reasons they needed the V1. Well, 3, actually. They needed the V1 to stop Homelander from getting the V1. They needed the V1 to save the people who currently are going to die if the virus breaks out.
Because they were going to make an antidote with it, which is why Huey says what he says in the episode. Correct. Okay, yes.
3, they needed it so that they could modify the virus to kill people with V1. However, they don't need V1 to kill Homelander, who doesn't have the V1. The virus in its current state would kill Homelander, to their knowledge.
They just need to make a stronger virus.
And this was and this is why, like, I'm harkening on this point, is because it was very clearly stated that they were going to spray the virus at Homelander. And again, this is where the inconsistencies come in a little bit as well, but I'm whatever on them, is they were very specifically going to spray the thing on Homelander. However, they were still going to try and get the V1. However, they were only going to do it, that thing was set up on a timer that was going to go off whether or not they got the V1. They were still going to try to get the V1 to save them, but if they didn't get the V1, they were still going to spray Homelander with the virus. That was very clearly explained as the plan. That is what actually leads into the line of dialogue where Kimiko and Annie are like, yeah, we're going to die. Like, if we can't find the V1, it's not the end of the world, because we're just going to set the virus loose and we're going to die. Like, we are ready for that. That was the conversation that they had off screen, but talked about in this episode.
Well, because they're obviously not telling you. Okay, that makes more sense. I'm not mad at that, because I think that makes more logical sense. I was trying to wrap my head around the whole thing of, like, I thought they needed the V1 to make the virus. No, they need the V1 to make antidotes for the virus. They just need to make a stronger virus that could actually rival Homelander, or maybe using a little bit of it to. I get what you're saying.
Well, and it's not
That
even
makes
an
more
antidote.
sense.
It's just the V1 is the antidote. They're not even making the antidote. Now, granted, maybe they could manufacture more V1. And I think that's also really interesting as well, because like Homelander knew that Sage was betraying him once he saw like Sage obviously could remake the V1. I think that's the thing. Like Sage could make the V1. She is smart enough to make the V1. I think
She's just
Homelander
not, right.
knew in that moment when they're like, "Oh, test 27," and the guy's like pooping blood out his ass or whatever. Like he knows that Sage is just delaying him, and that's what like kind of leads him down the spiral to where he's not surprised. Correct. Like that's why he's not surprised when he goes down and sees the like there's the laptop there and he knows it's Sage, right, because he already has the inkling that I think there is good stuff that is well set up here, but I think like going back to the other thing that I was trying to get at, like the Soldier Boy stuff makes no sense, because here's the thing. I think it's totally fine to say like, yes, he loved Stormfront and he loved Crimson Desert or Crimson Storm or whatever her name was. I think that's fine. I don't love it, but Soldier Boy is known for sleeping around. Now, there is a difference between sleeping around and true love, and he does call both of them his true love. My problem isn't necessarily with the fact that they did it. It's twofold. It's the fact that they did it knowing 100%. You cannot deny this. They did it to set up Vought Rising. They didn't do it because it was the logical conclusion or progression for his character. They only did it to set up both of their relationships in Vought Rising. And I think that is stupid. I think that should not be how you write your characters. You should write them to be your characters, not to set up a twist. And I think they also did it because they wanted to give Soldier Boy some sort of conflict, but the problem is that conflict just feels so like he is so back. He literally in this episode multiple times and last episode is like, I'm not going to give you the V1. I'm not going to give you the V1. I'm not going to give you the V1. And in this episode, he's continuously given reasons not to give him the V1. And then all of a sudden, when it finally comes down to it, after seeing Homelander raping Stormfront, and also, mind you, getting pissed off that he did it and in feeling disgusted by his son in that moment, immediately he's just like, no, I'm just going to make you a god now. Like, what? That makes no sense.
So from what I gathered, and this is why this is what I think you're missing. From what I gathered in the episode, and this is what I think the timeline is, and again, you're going to clip this so people on the internet can roast me if I'm wrong. From what I understand, and this is the conversation that he had with Bombsight, was he did love Stormfront. Soldier Boy loved Stormfront. He was somebody, or she was somebody that he could actually like love. But there was a reason that, which we haven't seen yet, where they didn't fully go in depth to. There was something that he just couldn't give her, that she like needed or something. So that's why it didn't work out for them. But he still loved her. I think what he was trying to realize, especially from the way Homelander was saying it, was that she saw something in Homelander and actually did to a certain extent like Homelander, and that Homelander did care for her the same way that he did. It's the only thing that, in a sick, fucked up, twisted way, the only father-son connection that they had is the, you do love this person the way I love them, and you wanted to do everything in your power to save them from dying, but they ended up taking their own life, which is what not forces him, but it kind of makes him think of like, it is what she would have wanted if she did care about you in any regard, the same way she did me. This is what she would want you to live forever. So it's a sick, fucked up, twisted way of looking at it, but that actually is a logical way of twisting it, looking at it. I'm not saying your argument isn't like wrong. Yeah, it's setting up Vought Rising. I think it's written so cleverly and just so well that it's something that I don't know how long the show is going to go on for. Maybe it's a 1-season deal. Down the line, after we see the origin story, we see all this conflict play out, similar like Better Call Saul. I know you never watched it. Better Call Saul sets up a lot of things later on in Breaking Bad that make it very heartfelt and give you an understanding for things. It's going to do the same thing here, and it's going to make the scene even more impactful. But I think that it's actually very good. Continue.
See, that's the problem. You just made my point stronger. I should not need a spinoff to make the motivations feel more earned. You just said oh, maybe it's something that'll become stronger later on. I need it to be strong in the show. Now, the reason why I bring that up is sometimes that's fine. For instance, like Anakin Skywalker and seeing him in Clone Wars and his motivations grow up through Clone Wars, I don't need that to make the impactfulness of the original 6 movies be felt. It enhances it, it adds to it, but I don't need it. If I say I need the explanation for Stormfront, now the other thing is, if you want to say, oh, well, they did explain it in this episode, it's just going to get enhanced. Okay, this is kind of leaving the Soldier Boy point, but it kind of isn't. They are putting so much of this season into building up characters that have never been mentioned before, that have never appeared before, and setting it up for VOD Rising. Bomb Sight, Golden Shower, or whatever her name is, bringing back Stormfront and making her a central concept. Soldier Boy, who I get was a main character from season 3 and was present in actually barely was present in season 4. We're doing all of this for a spinoff that doesn't even exist yet. Yet a spinoff that does exist with characters that have already been set up and mentioned multiple times aren't even playing. You spent an entire season of Gen V setting up Marie Moreau to go toe-to-toe with Homelander, and she gets an offhanded mention by 2 characters. That's all you give her. And yet this entire season is building, like, this entire season should be incorporating Gen V, a spinoff you already had with characters we already care about, with things that already would make perfect sense and have perfect stakes, and actual characters that I would give a shit about if something happened to them. And building that into this and having that be incorporated into it, instead of spending all of that energy building out a spinoff that we don't even know if it's going to be good or not.
So furthering my point, because you also said something that furthers my point more with the Vault Rising thing that I just don't agree with. They give you good writing, good scenes. They give you a reason to care about it, even if you haven't seen it. I'm saying once you do, it will enhance it, but it doesn't. It's not like if that scene never happened, it wouldn't replace anything. It makes perfect sense. You've given me the logical arguments. That scene is fine in my mind. I think they've done good development enough, and they've given you logical reasons to get there. I think when that show comes out, and it's a big if because we don't even know if the show is going to be good or not. It could be absolutely ass. When it comes out, it could enhance it. Similar to how Andor enhances Rogue One. Not on the same level, not by any comparison. You're comparing apples to oranges. I think obviously that's a really hard comparison. But in the similar way that Andor does to Rogue One. Andor enhances Cassian's character in Rogue One, even though his character is fine in Rogue One. And it's pretty easily good. It gets you the emotions you need, point A to point B. The Gen V situation is different, and this is a different conversation entirely, like you said, to leaving the point. First off, those characters are probably coming in within the next 2 episodes. They're not, even though they set up those characters Gen V, they're, other than Maria, they're not like the central focus of the Boys universe or characters.
But Bomb Sight hasn't been at all. Like none of these characters have been.
That's great. Gen V characters are not important.
They are. They made them feel important for an entire 2 seasons of a TV show with characters from the Boys. They made them
cameos, mind you.
They made them feel special. Yeah, we got an entire episode of this dedicated to Bomb Sight, a character that has been mentioned only ever this season, that no one cares about, and yet a character who got 2 seasons of a full-ass TV show that, mind you, we've already seen and people already love, doesn't matter anymore.
It's not that it doesn't matter. They haven't had a reason for them to play a part yet until now. Again, the plan was, dude, quit freaking out like you're a mentally challenged monkey with the symbols.
You're the mentally challenged monkey with symbols. The reason to bring in Marie Moreau is that she killed a character with V1 in their blood. She killed one of the strongest troops we ever could have had. The reason to bring them in is to kill Homelander. That's what they did the entire season 2. That is the reason.
Again, At the end of season 2 of Gen V, they set up that they were going to connect with the characters. Earlier in this season, I'm correct. You can go back and watch the episode if you'd like, but I really don't care all that much. But I remember this line being said. They talked about Maria. They talked about that character. And they specifically said is if she doesn't have to, she does not want to be involved.
They never said that.
She did.
Nope.
They said something along that lines.
They said her team is off on another mission. That is the only mention
there you
we
go.
get. But
there you go.
That's not good enough.
That's the excuse.
That's not good enough of an excuse.
That's just your preference. I'm sorry.
No, it's not a preference. The Homelander is the only thing that matters right now. That is the entire point of The Boys, is that Homelander is the only thing that matters. What else could be more important when the character is supposed to kill Homelander and isn't killing Homelander? What other mission is more important than that?
They haven't told you yet. So
they just did. She's off on another mission, you just said. Apparently that's the excuse. That's good enough. You just said that was good enough, and now you're saying it's not.
They haven't said what mission it is yet, so you are complaining. It could have something to do with the plot as a whole. It really could.
Then why hasn't it come up again? Then why hasn't it come up again? If she's off on a mission to go kill Homelander, why are we doing all this other bullshit to try and kill Homelander that no one mentions or no one? Is it top secret?
They never said that.
That's the problem. Is they never said.
Hold on. First off, I love this, by the way. This is great. They have not said the mission yet. They haven't said that the mission was to kill Homelander for her, what she's doing right now. They have not said anything yet. They could in this next few episodes. They also, yes, she's able to do it, have not had a reason to pull her in yet. They had a plan in place. Quit freaking out. Let me finish.
Homelander.
Let me finish this. Their plan, the entirety of this season, was getting this virus figured out so that they could just kill Homelander. Maybe they pull her back to do it once they finally do it, but they haven't gotten there yet. She's off doing something else that's important to this plot that we haven't.
What could be more important than killing Homelander? Tell me right now. Give me one example of a thing that is more important than killing Homelander right now.
Like I said at the beginning of this episode, I don't know where this plot's fucking going.
Neither do the writers.
Okay, that's not true. They clearly know where it's going because they wrote something. But
they wrote something
at the beginning of this episode. They like I said at the beginning of this episode, or at the beginning of this review, I have no idea where this plot's going because they threw me through a loop with Homelander even getting the V1 in the first place. This ending could be completely different from what I originally thought, which was, okay, this is clearly setting up this to get to. No, it's out the window. I have no idea where we're going with this, and that's a good thing. I'm telling you that this is a good thing. You don't like the fact that your favorite characters aren't in this season. That's fine.
I literally have Marie is not my favorite character of Gen V. Not even top 3 of Gen V.
I'm saying, but
Emma is my favorite characters.
I didn't say character. I said favorite characters. You're not. You've already been vocal that you prefer Gen V to the Boys, which is fair. I'm not blaming you for that.
Here's the thing,
but this is the Boys. And I know I'm sorry. I just want to finish this so that because we also got to talk about Mortal Kombat, and it's 12:30, so I just want to finish this thought up so that I can get past it. I am like thinking through all the things you're saying, and in my mind, you're upset about things that have not happened yet. Marie hasn't come, and I get that you're upset that Marie hasn't been in this story yet.
The problem, mind you, is that she hasn't shown up.
Right, but they have already said that she's doing a mission that's important to something else. They haven't revealed what it is yet. And if it ends up being right and it's just something stupid that didn't matter in the end, great. Then I will get upset with you. But they have not given us justification to get upset yet. You're just upset that the character that is pretty important to a universe that they've set up hasn't come in yet. Captain Marvel was important in Avengers Endgame. She was a massive force that could have taken on this army, but she didn't show up to the very end. Why? Because that's when she eventually became useful. She could have become useful before then, but there is a lot of plot that we have to get through between now and then to get there. That's what I'm trying to make an example of. And honestly, that's a pretty good comparison. Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame, very important characters of the universe, very powerful force, but was used sparingly and for obviously plot purposes, but also because they hadn't had a reason to get her there. That they already established. I'm off saving other planets. No. Let me say this. They already established an Endgame. I'm off protecting other planets. I'm off protecting other worlds from harm, whatever. They give her the reason. She comes back at the very end to save the day. It'll be the same thing with Marie. They'll justify the reason. I'm doing this for this benefit. But you can't say that until we actually have a reason. Why were you gone? Oh, I was saving a lost puppy. Okay, that's fucking stupid. Then I'll get upset with you. Until they give that justification, I cannot believe you.
There is
I just can't.
my thing is, I understand where you're coming from, but it's fucking stupid and wrong because there is nothing. The Boys as a concept in a show has told us for half a decade that nothing in the universe is more important than killing Homelander. Why is she not killing Homelander? And here's the thing. You brought up that I'm upset because they're my favorite characters. One, I do love Gen V more than the Boys, and I do love those characters more than the Boys. Not a single time in my entire argument did I mention that I want them in because they're my favorite. I brought up logical reasons as to why it would make story sense, why the writers told us. The writers spent an entire 8 hours of television telling us that Marie Moreau was going to be important and then shoved that up our asses and made us smell it.
Again, they haven't shoved it up your asses yet. Wait till next week or wait till the final.
I'm tired of waiting till next week. We have 2 episodes left. We have 2 hours left. Why? 6
then
episodes.
You're just
impatient. 6 episodes. 6 episodes of walking in the woods. That's not impatience.
6 episodes of good writing. Good story.
No.
Again,
no. We're done. I'm done. I can't. This show sucks. No, I'm kidding. I don't think the show sucks, but I do think that the season finale is bad.
Brother, you're talking like the show ended. The season finale hasn't come out yet. You can't even justify saying that yet. This is another.
The show ended when Homelander got the
Boys.
V1.
Did you see any dead bodies? Did you see a conclusion?
Also,
I said Sopranos ending it, just fade to black.
I said I was done. I'm gonna bring up one more thing. You're gonna get pissed at me. I guarantee it, and I love it.
You get one more because
no, I know. I know we got to move on. I know we got to move on. I got one more thing. I'll be very brief with this. Why the hell were they standing in the woods jerking each other off when Homelander was going and injecting the V1 into his system?
I will totally give you that.
Homelander's becoming a god right fucking there, and you're just gonna, that's scary. I get it. I totally get it. If they would have run in there, they probably would have died. Try! The man's becoming an immortal god right fucking there. And you're just gonna stand in the woods, circle jerking yourselves, not yell, not shout, not delay, not slow down, nothing. Just gonna stand there and ooh and ah and wow and applaud and die. You're gonna die anyway. Might as well have died trying stopping him.
It's like the theory of the Power Rangers. If the villain just took 2 seconds to realize that they're shouting all of their abilities and Dinozords or whatever and just blasted them, that'd be a pretty easy kill for the villains. I don't know. There is ways around that. Like, again, logically and canonically in TV shows, it all happens simultaneously. I don't know if that happened here, but like it all happens so quick that things can happen. They are running through the woods. And so maybe it's
they stopped to watch him. They stopped to watch him specific. Like we get the oohing and awing and jerking off in the woods while they watch Homelander.
You gotta find a different. You gotta find a different way to phrase that, brother. You gotta find a different way to phrase that.
While they oohing and awing, and Sage is realizing that she's not the smartest person in the world because no one could predict how stupid the writers were gonna be.
Well, I will say, to be fair, that was so. It's difficult because, like, one thing you already did kind of answer, it's they didn't want to charge in because they knew they were going to die. But you're also right. Like, why not charge in if you know?
Yeah, like that's my thing. It's like
they didn't think about it. Like, again, that's a very human thing to do, though. Like, if you don't know what to do, you're going to
Butcher should have. Here's my thing: Kimiko, Huey, Sage, all of those characters not running in and trying to stop him. I honestly don't really have that much of a problem with. Butcher should have tried to. And I'm actually genuinely upset that Butcher didn't, because Butcher should be the character who is willing to die to stop Homelander from becoming a god. And honestly, I think Butcher should have died in that moment. I think that rewriting that scene, I think Butcher should have tried to run in to stop Homelander. Homelander either becomes the god or in the process of trying to become the god, kills Butcher. I think that would have literally, like, you want to talk about cliffhanger, shock, major twists, that would have been probably one of the biggest twists in history. Like that would have been insane.
No, but they're saving a ton of these things for the next episode. I think they didn't want to like compile too much.
Stop
on the
waiting
end,
for the next episode. Every single episode we've said wait till the next episode. We have 2 episodes left. I'm tired of waiting. I am sick and tired of waiting. We've had 6 full hours of television.
For what are we waiting
for Butcher to
do
fucking anything this entire season to stop Homelander.
I guess I get what you're saying.
No, actively go and do something.
No, again, it doesn't surprise me. I was never, especially because they hadn't gotten that V1 yet, I was never expecting this episode for Butcher to do anything. And again, with as big of a thing as Homelander getting the V1, it makes sense for them to end the episode there and then next week pick up with what is probably going to be a very catastrophic, a lot of deaths and a lot of things.
It better be.
This is why I have a hard time saying that Stranger Things is better than this season as a whole, purely just because this season has balls that Stranger Things just didn't have, even if Stranger Things as a story is like
my counter to that is that is The Boys. Stranger Things didn't kill all of their characters because that was never Stranger Things. And I'm sorry, people who thought that multiple characters were going to die in Stranger Things were stupid because that has never been Stranger Things. And if they would have done that, would have gone against all that they've built up Stranger Things to be. It would have been anti what they've built Stranger Things to be. The Boys has killed characters every season and major characters and had major twists and had major things happen.
Right.
Like that is to its core what The Boys is. So if The Boys hadn't killed characters off, just like how if Stranger Things had killed multiple characters off, I would have had a problem with it. I would have a problem if The Boys didn't kill off multiple characters. And now they have, but granted, only one of those I care about, and it's Black Noir. Because no offense, like Firecracker was in 2 seasons. Black Noir, I guess technically this version of Black Noir has also been in for 2 seasons, but whatever.
It's just comes down to stakes. I think, like, and it's funny because you can have stakes without killing off characters, but I think in the case of Stranger Things, with as big of a threat as you are, you at least got to kill one person to add some stakes in some regard.
Yeah, I disagree with that, but we're not here to talk about Stranger Things.
No, well, and again, this will be a completely next episode conversation when we actually see characters die. The only prediction I can make for next episode 100% is Sage is 100% dead next episode.
She better be.
Sage is probably the first person to go within the next like 10 minutes of the next episode.
I think
Homelander's on a kill frenzy at that point.
I think that Sage, Kimiko, and Frenchie are the most likely characters to die next episode, because here's the thing. The reason why I say Kimiko and Frenchie is because they got very specifically, like, you know that whole trope about if you focus on a character for too long, they're going to die? That's what happened to Kimiko and Frenchie. Granted, this entire season, just like how the whole like Starlight and Huey thing, who also might die. I think those 2 are the most likely to live. But like Frenchie and Kimiko got the whole thing with Golden Shower or whatever her name is, about the whole like relationship and not wanting to live forever. Like they zoomed a little too close on that. Like one of them or both of them are
yeah, I don't know if they're going to kill all 3 of those people at the same time. I think
it's just the episode title that makes me think they'd kill all 3, because the next episode is titled. Right. I think it's like it's like Mother's Milk, The Frenchman, and it's like it's literally titled their character names or something along those lines.
Sure.
Ultimately, I think killing all 3 of them off, especially in one episode, would be insane. I would love it if done well, but that would be insane, especially because like these are the characters we care the most about. One of them, at least 1 to 2 of them, are dying, not including Sage.
Right. And again, wrapping up my thoughts on this segment. Look, I like what The Boys is doing. I like what they're doing this entire season. Yeah, it's got its problems. I already mentioned some of the problems that it has. But some of the things that you have problems with, I'm not going to have problems with until that final episode comes out. And if nothing's happened, then I'll come to the dark side with you. Then I will actually revolt and stake my anger with it. But until I hear the show out and see it to completion, I can't justify jumping on the train that you're already on with a lot of the anger and frustrations that you have until I've seen the complete story. It was the same thing with me for Stranger Things. There is a lot of anger that a lot of people have, but it wasn't until that finale came out that people really had anger with it. Again, Stranger Things, it was hated by a lot of people, so much so that people really were expecting, oh my God, secret episode's going to drop 10 days
The
after.
Boys
Nope,
conformity gate's gonna go so hard. Here's the funny thing
I did see
about
that The
that.
Boys is coming to theaters, by the way.
But here's the thing that's so stupid about this. Is one, Stranger Things dropped the episode at the same time in theaters as it dropped on Netflix. This is 6 hours early. It's the day before, but at night. Also, it's only in 4DX, only at one specific showtime, which is only in Regals. I checked. My theater, so I found out about it within 30 minutes of them making the post. My theater was completely sold out, other than the handicapped seats.
Oh yeah, like mine was gone within 15.
Yeah, exactly. Which, like, I get it. People, I wanted to see The Boys in theaters if could. I want to see everything in theaters if possible. I've never seen a 4DX thing. For it to be The Boys finale in 4DX, if they're gonna like shoot cum and blood in my face, I'd lose my mind. Like, that'd be amazing. But like, the fact that they only, I hope, and I don't know if they'll do this, but like Stranger Things originally, when they like made the whole announcement, they had like a small, like, only a few theaters, only a few showtimes, and then they all like sold out immediately, and they like opened up the swath of things. I hope, I don't think they'll ever, I think it's only going to be 4DX, but like,
I agree.
Why does it only have to be one showtime? One showtime on one day? Like, come on, guys. Come on. Like, give me something.
I don't know. I don't know why they did the way they did. I think this was very productive. I think we got a lot of thoughts out there and anger and frustration.
It's one of my favorite episodes, by the way.
No, I know. I agree.
This is one of my favorite episodes. I'm pissed. I'm like actually pissed.
I acknowledge and I understand where you're coming from. Can you say the same thing about me?
Fuck you.
Okay, well, that's just... Let's spend another 50 minutes on this. God damn it. Open it back up.
We still have another movie to talk about, which is what we're going to transition into because we're done with The Boys.
Yeah.
I don't know how you want to do this. I mean, I'm not going to make you give like a review of Mortal Kombat 1. I wouldn't focus on it too much either in your review, honestly. Let's just get it out the way now. We both watched Mortal Kombat 1. We both thought it was fine. We both thought it was a fine movie. I'm just getting that out of the way to let people know. Also, to let people know that, like, neither of us really have that big of a touchstone with Mortal Kombat. Like, we both are aware of it. We've both played a round or two, probably. Actually, I don't even know if I've played a round or two. But, like, we're just coming in this as movie fans. Now, people are still probably going to hear our thoughts and tear us alive on the internet because we're not Mortal Kombat fans, and that's going to probably factor into our thoughts, at least for mine. But yeah, I want to at least give that, so if you actually do watch the full episode, we've covered our butts a little bit.
Yeah, and look, we said Mortal Kombat 1 was fine. We both agree it's fine. It's whatever. The second one, in my opinion, is a little better than the first one. It's fun. I think, unfortunately, this film, it follows the same thing with the first one in the sense of I don't think that these films really know what they wanted to be beyond, Mortal Kombat action scenes, let's make money. I don't think that these films really knew what they wanted to be other than that. I love Karl Urban in the second movie. I think that he actually, much better than Cole, I think he's a much more realized, understood, I guess, focused, central lead, kind of. Here's the things I think that this film did better. One, it did steer away from Cole being the central lead. Johnny is technically, I guess, the person you're watching the story through, but even still, this feels more like an ensemble movie, which is, I feel like, what the first movie should have been, which is it should have been more of an ensemble movie. I do think the action is better in this movie, but similar to the first movie, I feel like the only thing I'm going to remember from the second movie is, honest to God, the final action sequence, and maybe like the first one with Johnny and Katana. and that's it. And that even wasn't like really that impressive. Other than that, it's like it's fine. I'm trying to think of ways to praise this movie. The story's better. It's still a MacGuffin chase, but it's better. We'll discuss this more, but I think the biggest disrespect this movie does do, and it's funny because he was the most hated character of the first movie. The first movie sets up as the lead is Cole, and that's fine. The biggest disrespect is that they brush him under the rug in this movie, and quite quickly, which is them trying to say, hey, we made a mistake. I would have rather just had them write out Cole and just not have him come back if they were going to do what they did. Because it makes the first movie feel completely pointless whenever you just kill the character off and have nothing for like the rest of him, like just gone. But I don't know. That's kind of how I feel. It's better than the first one. It's not one I feel like I'm probably going to revisit again. It's just fine. I guess go watch it if you're a Mortal Kombat fan. Don't flame me if you are a Mortal Kombat fan, because I don't know much about Mortal Kombat as a whole.
Fair enough. God, I'm gonna say something on this. Don't react to it unless it's just your face, just for clipping purposes. But you're gonna agree with me so unbelievably hard on this. Like, you're gonna be shocked that you did not think about this comparison. And I'm so proud of myself for making this comparison because it is the most accurate comparison. Mortal Kombat 2 is exactly what FNAF 2 thinks it is. It is bring in all of the elements of the fandom. Here's this character that you really love. Here's this stage that you really love. Here's this soundbite that you really love, and make you care about it. This movie is made for people who grew up playing Mortal Kombat and want to see all their characters fight on screen in stages that they recognize with soundbites that they recognize. Exactly what FNAF 2 tried to do. Now, I think FNAF 2 is a terrible movie. I think that movie is not borderline unwatchable. I think that movie is unwatchable. I think that Mortal Kombat 2 actually does work better. Again, I think it's what FNAF 2 thinks it was trying to do, but still not a good movie. I think the action's great. I think it looks better than the first movie. Still doesn't look great, though. I don't know if that's because they're trying to force the campiness, but like, honestly, you could have not edited out the wires of the fight scenes, and I probably would feel the same about them with the way that they're moving in some of these fight sequences. Like, you can tell that they're wired, and they don't even try to hide it. I don't know if that's purposeful or not, but it is something that I noticed. The effects, the green screens, also not that great. I don't think they need to be great, but they're not. The story in this movie is actually decent. The first one I thought was fine. I barely cared about the story. It's very, very fast-paced for being nearly 2 hours. This movie is 2 hours and is still surprisingly extremely fast-paced, but at least you have Katana there to act as a little bit more of a heart. You have two hearts in this movie. You have Johnny Cage and you have Katana, and you do actually care about both of them more than you cared about any character in season or in the first movie. But at the same time, they also kind of just do that by shoving everyone from the first movie out of it. Like, they feel like they didn't even matter. Like, I was afraid that by going into this, like, oh, I have to watch the first movie. I have to remember everything that happened in the first movie. Honestly, you don't. And I think that is a net negative to it, because why even make it a two-part series if that's the way you're going to go with things? Overall, though, this movie is a fun time. If you're a Mortal Kombat fan, you're going to love it. If you're not a Mortal Kombat fan, I do think the action, the comedy, it's a very funny movie. I'll give it that. Like, Carl Urban gives some banger hilarious lines that I was like laugh out loud at. Maybe because they were a little stupid and I was laughing at it, but I still think that's worth a laugh at. And I think there are those elements that bring the movie up, especially compared to like a FNAF 2, but it's still like a whatever movie. It's just a fun time.
It's fine, and you put it right on the money, by the way, with the FNAF.
Yeah,
example.
I knew you were gonna like be kicking yourself after I said that, and it's funny because that was the first thing I thought of after I walked out of the movie. I'm like, because obviously I saw this movie 2 hours before we were supposed to be recording this, not even like an hour.
Yeah.
And so I had to put together my thoughts on this movie quickly. And I'm sitting there on the metro back and I'm like, how do I talk about this movie? FNAF 2, what's another movie that I can compare it to, but not just like comparison, what's better, what's not, but like a way to wrap your head around like the concept that they're going for.
Sure. Well, and again, getting the negatives out of the way, and you'll pretty much agree with me on this. Similar to the first movie, there's not really like emotional value in this film.
Nah.
If
I mean, they try.
Fine.
I'll give them this. They try.
try.
Katana was good.
Katana's the only one. Purely the only one. I guess you could make a kind of case for Johnny.
I didn't care. Like, I liked... If Johnny Cage was not Carl Urban, I would not have cared about him as a character at all. But the sole fact that it was Carl Urban, I cared about him. I'm going to be fully honest.
Yeah. It's just the charisma of Carl Urban that plays so well into that character.
The fact that they let him get a Lord of the Rings joke in there, I was dying. I would assume you caught that, right? The Lord of the Rings joke that they made. I gotta admit, is it a cheap shot? Is it stupid? Absolutely. Did it still have me laughing my ass off in theaters that they would let him do that? Obviously, it's not like I don't know if they let him do it, like whatever. But like the fact that they did it, I found that incredibly funny.
But again, like it's like he's a good aspect of the movie, but like there's a lot of conveniences in this movie of things that just kind of happen for the sake of plot dictating that it happens. I think the worst one is how they actually resolve it all. Like Johnny just happens to find his power or his like big thing and it destroys the amulet. Like, brother. Come on.
Yeah.
You could have been more clever than that.
Or the fact that this god can have his throat slit by a sharp hat. Okay, cool. Like, here's the thing. There's a lot, and I was thinking about this while I was watching this movie, which, mind you, never a good sign. You never want to think about this while you're watching a movie. You want to be enjoying the movie. But I'm thinking about this during the movie. I'm sitting there going, here's the thing. This movie makes no sense. There, like, plot-wise, storyline, it is terrible. I think the only reason it isn't is because it's Mortal Kombat. And that is where I give it way more leeway than if they made this movie and it wasn't. Literally, the only difference is remove the Mortal Kombat name from it. It would have been one of the worst movies of the year, easily. But because it's Mortal Kombat and I already know that they're not going for any sort of tone other than this is dumb fun, there are confines of this world that you will simply not understand because they simply do not make sense, because this is based on a game that is simply just two characters fighting on a 2D screen that started as an arcade game. Like, credit where credit's due. They at least did something with it. Now, they could have done more with it, but...
Right. And again, I think that like the writing's okay. Again, it's very generic writing. I would probably venture to guess that most everything Carl Urban says that is like impactful or funny in this film is probably his own. Like, I don't think that they wrote that. Happened with it. So it's just like, it's pretty generic and it's fine. I think the costume designs are cool.
Yeah.
I like the new look for Sub-Zero. I thought that was pretty cool.
The new Sub-Zero.
What's the main villain's name? Shin. What's his name?
Are you talking about the actual villain
Shao Kahn,
or the sorcerer? Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn.
Shao Kahn. I thought his design was dope as fuck. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. I think what's his name? The one with all the teeth. Terrible to look at. Cool design. Terrible. I hated every time he was on screen. I'm looking at all those teeth like, I want to go to a different shop, please. Go back to Carl Urban's face.
It's like it's like the mouth of Sauron in Lord of the Rings. My master bids thee welcome. And he just like smiles. You get you're horrible to look at. I'm so sorry. No, that's a very cool design. All the costume designs are really good here, and any time they use power sets is pretty cool. I did listen to a little bit of people chattering online after I saw this, just because I wanted to hear like what some people said. A lot of people are really responded well to the Kung Lao Liu Kang fight, which was admittedly pretty cool.
Yeah, there are some good fights in here. I think a lot of the one-on-ones are good. I think the katana one was I agree with you. I think the katana one is one that like in the moment it was fun, but like thinking back on it, it's whatever.
This movie also does take more chances with like killing characters. Again, I want to talk about this one first because it's the one that is the most disrespectful to anybody who did watch and even like the first movie, which is just killing off Cole instantly. Write him out of the story. Get him out of the film. You don't have to put him in here if you don't want to use him. Like they just nothing.
It's not only that they killed him instantly, it's the fact that you immediately know that they're acknowledging that they screwed up by making a non-Mortal Kombat character the main focus of the first movie, by the fact that the second we start this movie, he gets 2 shots in the camera basically, and then his next shot in the camera is him fighting the main villain and dying. Like it's not even like every other character that was more of a side character than him gets more screen time before his death than he does. They immediately throw him to the wayside, and that's when like his death is like, man, we just spent a whole movie setting up how this man has a wife and kids and all, and then he dies. Now here's the thing. At the end of the movie, they set up that they're just going to go get him back because apparently no character can actually die. And that's another thing where it's like, that's a part of the Mortal Kombat lore that like when it happened in the first movie, being a non-Mortal Kombat fan, I was like, oh, so any character can just come back from the dead? Apparently so, yes. But I can accept that because that's just a part of the Mortal Kombat lore. That's just the way it is. So I'm not going to critique that because that's not like a bad writing thing. It's just a way the world works that I have to accept in order to step into this world. I think that's fine. But your point about him being disrespected, I fully agree with. Like that was like when he died, I literally the first thought I was like, so the wife and kids from the first movie, nothing.
Well, I wouldn't even say, but like the end of the first movie also had Scorpion looking at Cole going, you are the sole protector, protect my family's legacy. He didn't do a good job protecting his legacy when he just dies immediately. It would also have made more sense if Cole showed back up because Scorpion's in the underworld. They come back later. He's in the underworld. He's there. It would have made more sense if Cole ended up there.
That's the thing. Like, what is the criteria to get into this hell? Like, none of the characters that have died so far are in this hell other than Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Like, how does that work?
Believe in underworld Jesus and you get into the underworld.
Apparently Scorpion is underworld Jesus, by the way.
Apparently.
Again, like these might be things that are like, oh, you should just know that from Mortal Kombat 17 comic book, whatever. We don't. And that's where the comparison to FNAF comes in, into where like, I do think that this is better than FNAF, but it still has all the same problems of, if you don't know the lore of the source material, 99% of the things that happen in this make no sense because they don't care about explaining it to you, which a lot of people who go see this movie aren't going to care about because they like Mortal Kombat. But for anyone who doesn't like Mortal Kombat, you're just going to have a problem. You're shit out of luck, honey.
For Hanzo so loved the world, he gave his one and only Scorpion, that whoever shall believe in him shall not perish but go to the underworld.
Yeah.
Raiden 316. Anyway, I think that like it's just a disrespectful thing. But again, knowing the lore, whatever, I guess if you bring him back, fine. But like, I feel like it would have been smarter if they were going to go to the underworld because it also is just kind of sudden when they go. Have Cole explore it. Like, have that be his sole purpose in the movie is exploring the underworld so we get the other side of the coin so that when we get there, we're not like, oh, what is this place? What is this? Well, like, it kind of makes a little more sense. Sure, it's whatever, but have Scorpion take him on a journey. Literally have it be that. It's not the main focus of the plot, but you can still push his story along.
Here's the thing with that is like, I'm still baffled that this movie was 2 hours long because I feel like barely anything happens in that 2 hours. And I get it. That's because a lot of the time is spent on fights. Like, I think that last fight is probably 25 minutes long, but at the same time, you're like, slow down and explore the underworld, something like that. That would have been great. That would have been interesting. Where they literally slowed down. Never. There was not a single time. This is a movie composed of shot. Like, there's no breathe. I guarantee you that if we went and looked at the editing clip of this movie, there's not a single shot that lingers for more than a minute. And I honestly be generous by saying I'm probably being generous with a minute. I'd say there's probably not a single shot in this movie that lingers longer than 25 seconds.
I'd agree with that. The pacing of this movie is weird because it doesn't give you a chance to breathe.
Yeah.
Like ever.
Again, where did that 2 hours go?
Well, and again, it's not a bad thing in a film like this to not give you a chance to breathe. If you're just solely focused on action going, that's great. But like there is aspects of them trying to do things. Okay, if you're gonna try, actually take the time to let the story breathe a little bit. Give us quieter moments in between each tournament. Justify your long runtime by doing that. It just will bring everything together a little bit nicer and make the pacing not feel so we gotta go.
Yeah.
You know? It just tidies it up a little nicer, I guess.
Well, because again, like the movie is made for Mortal Kombat fans. What do Mortal Kombat fans want? Fighting. They don't necessarily care about the story and the connective tissue, but that's where you have to balance it. And I think like
sure.
Again, I don't want to tie it back to FNAF, but that's where FNAF really struggled, is it doesn't care about the moviegoers. It only cares about the fans. And this was the whole debate that we had with AJ when AJ was on the podcast to talk about FNAF, because he was a big FNAF fan. It's like both you and I being mainly movie people and not as much a FNAF fan or a Mortal Kombat fan and looking at this as a movie. In order to make a movie, if you're going to spend the time and money to make a movie, make it a movie. Make it a good movie. If you just want to watch the characters fight on the big screen, rent out a movie theater and play Mortal Kombat on it. Or go home and play Mortal Kombat. Like, I get it. I do. I genuinely get it. When I have characters, like I loved the Minecraft movie, all of its faults, because I love Minecraft and seeing it on the big screen. That is something that I do have a connection to. But I can also accept that that's not a good movie. And it should have been a better movie. But there's like FNAF fans, and also with this movie, Mortal Kombat fans, that are like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Like, this is the perfect Mortal Kombat movie. It might be the perfect Mortal Kombat movie, I guess. It is far from even a good movie. Like a movie.
I mean, it's kind of the same argument. And I'll be honest, I need to think about it. It's kind of the same argument for Mario Galaxy. It's a good Mario movie. That doesn't mean it's a good movie.
I mean, that's
both
also
movies
fair.
are fun times. And honestly, at the end of the day, I need to actually think about which one I actually kind of like more, because they're kind of about the same for me as far as both like they're good for their respective universes, but which one do I actually enjoy more objectively? It's probably Mario. I probably enjoyed it more.
When I was I have every movie I've seen this year ranked. I'll talk about it periodically, but I'm not going to talk about it now in depth. That was legitimately my touchstone when I walked out of this movie, was did I enjoy it more or less than Mario Galaxy? For me, when I was looking at it, I enjoyed Mario Galaxy more, but we're not talking like country miles more. We're talking they both do ultimately the same thing for their universe. Nonstop core, what that concept is.
It's the Yoshi scene with the one song walking through town.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes the Mario Galaxy movie just better all around.
That probably is the best scene out of the two movies. That's the other thing, and I want to get your thoughts on this. It might be the last thing that we talk about, since it's probably 1:00 in the morning.
Probably.
Is how do you feel about Mortal Kombat? Got its launch into fame, into the starlight, because of the brutal kills. It was everyone, the news talked about this movie ad nauseum when it came out because of how brutal the concept of this game was. Every game was like, it was like revolutionary for the time.
Sure,
I'm gonna be honest. There's some CGI blood. There are some KOs that are brutal. Like the last one where like Katana cuts his head in 3. Yeah, that's brutal. When the person gets cut in half, it's brutal. But like for Mortal Kombat being brutal, like why haven't we seen Sub-Zero rip someone's head and their whole spine come out. Like, that is what
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat to me as a non-Mortal Kombat fan is, and we didn't get that in the first or the second movie. Yeah, we got someone cut in half, but we cut away immediately. Like, if Mortal Kombat is brutal violence, I want the brutal violence. And I'm someone who doesn't even like brutal violence. But if that's what Mortal Kombat is, give me that. Give me ripping out spines. Give me ripping out hearts. We got that in the first movie. That was a great scene. But especially with this movie, like, we didn't really get that. And I feel kind of weird about that when that's what Mortal Kombat is to a lot of people. It is the fatalities.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's nothing much to touch on it. But yeah, I think they should have gone much further with it. If the boys can go far with violence, why can't Mortal Kombat go far with the violence?
Yeah.
I mean, they're both rated R. This film's also rated R, and realistically, if you toned it back, like just the blood and some of the language, this easily could be rated PG-13.
I mean,
I'm not saying I want it to be. I'm just saying it could be. I just don't think they're justifying the full use of that.
I think that they are, because every single like major kill, like all the blood splashing and stuff like that, which like there's just an excessive amount of CGI blood in these movies. Honestly, even with that, without toning it down, I think could be considered PG-13. But the smashing of the head at the start,
yeah,
that was R. The cutting the head in 3 pieces, that was very brutal. The cutting the person in half, like bisecting them, that was hard R. But again, I don't think there's enough of it. Maybe that's a stupid argument, but this is Mortal Kombat we're talking about. This is on the news. This is ripping out spines. This is going to make your kids a Satanist. Sure. Mortal Kombat. And I've never super played a Mortal Kombat, but everyone knows a Mortal Kombat fatality. And I just don't feel like these movies have leaned into that as much. Maybe, again, I'm not the expert. Neither of us are Mortal Kombat fans, but
yeah, it's a huge aspect of it. And I guess it's sad that's not there, but like, again, I don't care enough about it to actually like justify going off the rails about it, I guess, necessarily.
I mean, trust me, like, that's my thing. You say I don't like the boys. I care about the boys a lot more to get pissed off and yell about it and angry about it. I admittedly don't care about Mortal Kombat enough to, like, there are things I don't like about this movie way more than I don't like about the boys. I just don't care about Mortal Kombat as much as I care about the boys.
I look, I completely agree with that. Again, the reason that segment is so much fun is because we know we're going to get in debates about it, but that's because we actually care about what's happening. We know it's a good show. We actually care. I love those characters. I've grown up. I say grow up, but like,
I mean, it's been 5-6 years. So was what 2019 or something. So
again, I was still, I was like just entering high school whenever I actually started watching that show, which I saw a comment. I'm like, "Ooh, wow, he's illegal. I'm going to report you to the Amazon police." Like, brother, shut up. I was raised in a very specific household, man.
There were like 2 comments like that. I think one on TikTok and one on YouTube. That someone was like, "Ooh," on YouTube specifically. Someone was like, "Ooh, you're so edgy. You watch it at 13." And I was like, "Shut the fuck up." It was funny, but I'm like, "Man, you're acting like you didn't watch a rated R movie at 5 years old." Like,
I was like, brother, I'm just explaining like what I was at and that I probably shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah,
I don't care. I wasn't saying I was edgy.
You admit in the clip that you know you should not have been doing it.
I wasn't saying it because I was trying to be edgy. I just say I probably shouldn't have been doing it. That was it. That's the comment.
Yeah.
Whatever,
anyways,
Mortal Kombat 2. Yeah, it's fine.
Go watch it. Go watch it. Don't go watch it. This is a movie that like I would not recommend this movie to most people, just because I don't think, unless you really like gore and good to bad fighting, campy fighting. If you want a good movie, don't watch this movie. There's plenty of other movies that are good movies that you should go watch. But if you want to
watch Sheep Detective,
we'll talk about that in a second. But I will say this. One last thing. I went into this movie not in a good mood at all. I was actually really not in a good mood. We had to move around filming schedules because of a bunch of things. I had to schedule some doctor's appointments for things. I was going back and forth with people. Like, I went into this movie in a pretty not good mood. I was really hoping that it wouldn't play a factor in my review. I was admittedly a little worried. I was like, man, we don't have time to do this any other time, but like, I am not in the headspace to watch this movie. I'll give the movie credit for this. When I walked out of this movie, and for most of this movie, it did its job that a movie should do. It made me not think about how bad everything around me was. That's why I love movies. I go to movies to turn my brain off or to turn my brain on and pay attention to something. But sometimes I just need to turn my brain off and watch something that's action-packed or that's like fun or whatever. And I will give the movie credit for doing this. Mortal Kombat at least made me forget about my problems for the 2 hours that I was watching it, which is sometimes all you need out of a movie. So whether it's a good movie or a bad movie, I would at least like to give Mortal Kombat credit for at least making me forget about my problems. Now, did I forget about my problems because I was thinking about how not good some of the stuff in the movie was? Yeah, but hey, that's still the movie doing it. So, but anyway,
Right.
Next week, we are going to be talking about obviously Maul is over, Invincible's over. We have 1 week break. Next week is the 1 week, I believe it's one. No, I think it's either 1 or 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks. Next week starts the 2 week break between now and when we have another big like pickup of a bunch of things coming out. We're like Spider Noir and we get into the summer with all the movies and blockbusters and stuff. But we still do have Boys Episode 7 next week. We will be talking about In the Gray, which is a new Henry Cavill, Jake Gyllenhaal action film, which we're both fine on. And we'll be talking about Sheep Detective. So Sheep Detective comes out this week. The only reason we were originally going to review it on this episode, the only reason we didn't is because, again, we have to record early because of my travel schedules and stuff like that. So we will be talking about Sheep Detective next week. That movie is apparently God's gift to this earth, and I'm so excited to find out about it because every single review I've seen about it, people are like in tears saying it's like the best movie of the year. So like I'm actually genuinely excited to watch Sheep Detective. Wasn't originally like it looked stupid, admittedly. But hey, we'll find out next week. Carson, you want to say anything? I know it's 1:30 at night. In the morning.
It's 1:30 in the morning. Can we wrap this up?
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Nerdy Nimrods podcast. The only podcast on the internet where your two favorite Nimrods talk all things nerdy. You can find us on all podcast hosting platforms at Nerdy Nimrod, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon Music, literally anywhere you can find your podcast, you can find us yapping and arguing. You can also find us on all social media platforms at Nerdy Nimrods. Admittedly, we don't post there as much as we used to. I keep saying I'm going to get back to it. I've been saying that for like 3 months now. I will stop making promises, but I will admit I know I will get back to it. I just can't tell you when because I don't know. But what I have been doing a lot of is posting clips at Nerdy Nimrods Clips, big highlights from the podcast. All of our reviews go up on the social media platforms. Any big moments like Carson's theory that he got dogged on or like these arguments will go up on the Clips channel. If you want to relive your favorite clips without rewatching the entire episode, that's where you can find it. But this has been this week. Next week will be next week. And as always, stay nerdy.